Yes, hello, hello. We are live and welcome everybody to this show. Great to have you here. I have Serena that is live here. Serena, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Charles. Thank you.
There you go. Great to have you. So the floor is yours, Serena.
Oh, thank you. I apologize for the technical difficulties I'm having right now where you cannot see me. But my name is Serena Thompson, and I am Sickle Cell Association of Ontario's interim president. We are hosting our 2 day Sickle Cell Education Day and Fundraising Drive today and tomorrow from 1 to 4 p.m. live on Facebook through with Charles Matthews. I wanted to say welcome. Thank you for joining us. And just a little bit about, sickle cell. Sickle cell, September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And so we decided to host a 2 day conference. Sickle cell disease is a group of life threatening inherited disorders that affect the normal function of the red blood cells. Common symptoms of sickle cell disease include severe abdominal and bone pain, joint swelling pain, splenic sequestration, aplastic anemia, vaso-occlusive crisis, organ damage, and infection. Individuals affected with sickle cell disease may also experience serious respiratory infections. Also, sickle cell disease is not curable at the moment, but it can be managed by patients, their families, and healthcare professionals with proper education and training. So this is what we're doing right now. So I wanted to start with a land acknowledgement for the day. Sickle Cell Association of Ontario would like to acknowledge that its provincial office is located in Toronto and on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. So to start off, I wanted to introduce you to our host. Our host is Charles Matthews Jr., and Charles has contributed to a number of different industry publications, charities, events, organizations, including Peel Police, Camp Jamoki, and Sickle Cell Association of Ontario, and much more. Once Charles has put his mark on your event, people will start asking for him by name. His expertise and commitment to his audience has allowed him to be recognized as the voice of Toronto. So I want to welcome everybody, Charles Matthews Jr.
Thank you so much. And this is going to be a great event. So happy everybody can be here and will be watching. So here we go. We're going to do something a little different. If you're watching us from any of the platforms, just give us a shout out. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're in from, where you're looking in from. We'd love to have you there. So we're going to start off with just a quick commercial, and then we're going to be right back. Stay tuned.
For over 20 years, the health and wellness team at Morgan Chiropractic and Wellness, MCW, has been helping people live healthier, happier lives. Many have been individuals and families from the sickle cell community. Providing chiropractic and massage therapy will help alleviate joint and muscle pains. Naturopathic medicine and psychotherapy will support your nutritional and emotional needs. MCW is proud to support the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario and the Lily Johnson Scholarship Fund. Call us today to book your consultation. 416-447-7600.
Yes, we are back live. I just want to thank one of our sponsors for doing that, for joining us on there. We thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so we're going to start with our national anthem. And our national anthem is coming from a lovely lady. You know, she's been with us from the start, and she actually going to Durham High School, the youngest out of 3. And if you see her face, you know, she's always with us. And I have to say, I've seen her grown up. I've seen her step forward, and she's doing an awesome job. So please stand, if you can stand where you are, for the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of God's command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Absolutely beautiful. I have to give her a big round of applause. She did an awesome job. Awesome job. All right. So I want to move right into the show because my next guest is starting us off. He's a gentleman that we've been talking behind the scenes. He's lovely, and I love that he just has a great spirit about him. Coming to you live. I'm just gonna bring him on. How you doing, sir?
Thank you very much, Charles.
We've
Are
been
you hearing me well?
Oh, we can hear you fantastic, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
It was just telling everybody how great it was to talk to you before the show, to have
Pleasure.
you behind the screen, and just to learn a little bit about you, what you're doing, all the great things that you have accomplished. And so please tell everybody, where are you coming in from?
I'm coming from London, and I'm a consultant in pediatrics. Also, I'm a pediatric cardiologist. I have been working with the United Nations. I have been working with the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario as a public health education project manager for between 2003 and 2010. And now I am working in Italy at a place called Speria Children's Service, and I'm happy to be there.
There you go. And there's some of the things I want to ask you about before you start. Like I see here, you've been in Atlanta, Georgia. You've been all over the place. What makes you travel to help people do what you do?
Yes, when I went to Atlanta, Georgia, I was representing the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario at the Sickle Cell Association of America meeting, and we traveled together, and a gentle lady and Nicholas Doty, who was a sickle cell nurse, and we represented the sickle cell there. We brought there and the sickle cell passport, which has been developed at the Sick Children's Hospital, and the people liked it.
Yes, very nice. All right, so the floor is yours, my friend. You can go ahead and I'll put up your presentation.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
For the sake of time, I have only 30 minutes, and the chapter I'm treating is the doctor and patient relationship, which is a large chapter in medical ethics. So I'll go directly to the body of my presentation. When we are talking about the doctor-patient relationship, we are talking about the principles in healthcare ethics, and these dates back to the era of Hippocrates. It didn't just started nowadays, and it goes back centuries earlier. The moral code of medical ethics predates the Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and it is duty-based ethics, and it consists in first, do not harm. That means the doctors should not harm, and they are there to help. And the second principle is beneficence, seek to provide benefit for the patient in terms of patient goals. And the third principle is justice, treat every person fairly. And the fourth is autonomy, which is the respect of the autonomy of the patient. When we are talking about the patient-doctor relationship, it is considered the core element of the ethical principles in medicine, and it begins when the doctor takes the responsibility of treating the patient, whether it is diagnosis, whether it is treatment, in an agreeable manner. Therefore, the doctor owes responsibility to the patient to proceed. I'll go into my second patient. And the third, the doctor-patient relationship, when we are talking, is in providing medical service, a physician do not discriminate against any patient on such grounds as age, gender. We go back to I have a little bit of technical glitch. So the doctor does not discriminate the patient, as I was saying, and such grounds as age, gender, marital status, sexual orientation, medical condition, national or ethnic or race or religion, physical or mental disability, social status, or political affiliation. Let me move my Okay, when we are talking also with the space of the doctor-patient relationship, once this relationship is established, the doctor owes the patient the duty of care and treatment with a degree of skills and care and diligence as possessed by or expected from a reasonable, competent physician under the same circumstance. The principle of duty is an obligation to avoid omission or actions which could be reasonably foreseen to injure or harm patient or other people. Other thing we should have to talk about are the fundamental responsibilities of the doctors, which is the physician should first consider the well-being of the patient. That's the first point. And to practice the profession of medicine in manner that treats the patient with dignity and as a person worth of respect, and provide for appropriate care for the patient, even when cure is no longer possible. That includes physical comfort and spiritual and psychosocial support. Also, the doctor should consider the well-being of society in the matters affecting their health. The other thing the doctors should be aware of, that the doctors should practice the art of science and medicine in competent way, with integrity, without impairment. The doctors should resist any influence or interference that could undermine his or her professional integrity. Also, to refuse to participate in or support practice that violate human rights. Once this responsibility is established, and the doctor has the responsibility to disclose or inform the patient conflict of interest that arise in course of his or her professional duties, and resolve that matter in the best interest of the patient. What the doctors when there is something that the doctors will influence, the doctors and values would influence the recommendation of the practice of any medical procedure that the patient needs or wants. With that, I mean when the doctor's personal values would influence the recommendation or practice of any medical procedures that the patient wants or needs. The other thing is to prevent harm from the patient, and should harm occurs, the doctor have the responsibility to disclose it to the patient and take all the responsible steps to correct it. Also, the doctor should recognize his or her limitation in helping the patient. In that case, the doctor should recommend or seek additional opinion or services. Now I'm talking about the general responsibility of the doctor we have seen. Now I'm going to treat the privacy and confidentiality of a doctor. A doctor should protect the personal information of the patients, provide information and the reason why their information is collected and use it, and be aware of the patient rights regarding access to the patient's information, health information, and should ensure also that the patient health information is recorded accurately, and avoid also the public discussion or comment that could reveal the confidential or identifying information regarding their patients. Also, continuing with the privacy, patient's personal information to third party can be disclosed only with patient's consent or as provided by law, such as when the maintenance of the confidential would result in a significant risk or substantial harm to the others. In case of incompetent patients, to the patient themselves, in such cases, the doctor has to take all reasonable steps to inform the patient that usual requirement for confidentiality will be breached. The doctor, when acting on behalf of third party, he should ensure that the patient understands the nature and the extent of his or her responsibility to the third party. Upon patient's request, the doctor has to provide the patient or third party with a copy of his or her medical record, unless there is a compelling reason to believe that the information contained in the record will result in substantial harm to the patient or to the others. Let me move my... Now I want to talk about the shared decision-making and consent. This is a collaborative approach to the healthcare where physicians and patients work together to develop the best treatment plan instead of the provider making all the care decision on behalf of the patient. The patient is involved in the discussion about the various treatment options, reviews pros and cons of each, and then decide how they would like to proceed. Also, the doctor should provide the patient the information they need to make an informed decision about their medical care and answer their questions to the best knowledge of the doctor's ability. Also, the doctor has the responsibility to communicate with the patient in such a way that information exchanged is understood. And the doctor should recommend only diagnostic and therapeutic services that is considered to be beneficial to the patient or to the others. Also, the doctor has also the responsibility to respect the right of competent patient to accept or to reject any medical care recommended, respect the autonomy of those minors who are authorized to consent to treatment, and also balance the developing competence of the minors and the role of the families in the decision making. Regarding the decision making and shared consent, if there is a reasonable reason, the doctor should consider the request of a patient for a second opinion from another physician of the patient's choice. Also, if it is reasonable, he should consider and accept the patient's wish about initiation, continuation, or cessation of life-sustaining treatment. Uh, if the intention of an incompetent person or patient, as they were expressed, example through a valid advance directive or proxy designation before the patient become incompetent, the doctor should consider also that when the intention of the incompetent patient are not known or no formal mechanism for making treatment decision is in place, then the doctor renders such treatment as he believes to be in accordance with the patient's values and patient's best interest. Also, the doctors are bound to consider the patient's family and significant others to collaborate with them in the patient's best interest. Within the boundaries of the doctor-patient relationship, there are professional boundaries, and that professional boundaries are any behavior on the part of the doctor that transgress the limit of the professional relationship or the boundary violation. Other boundaries is the patients are advised in turn not need to avoid frequent phone calls or unscheduled visit to their doctors as a sign of respect for their time. And lastly, I want to mention the termination of doctor and patient relationship. There are numerous situations that may bring about the patient's discharge of a patient, physician's discharge of a patient, and ending the relationship. The relationship may come to an end when the physician concludes that the patient needs the care of a different specialist. If there is successive missing of appointment by the patient, the physician refuses to treat the patient due to nationality, religion, or other causes, or neglecting a patient from promote professional care without making arrangement for continuance of such care. That's called patient abandonment. I want to conclude with that last slide, and thank you. My slides were not moving, so I continue speaking. Thank you very much.
Yes, my friend. Thank you so much for the great presentation. A lot of information to take in there. So let me just ask you a couple of questions.
Yes,
What is the key takeaway for understanding what people should walk away from right now?
that means that the patient and doctors are team, work together, and the patient must be member, and he's one of the manager of his medical condition. You cannot exclude patient, and you cannot just decide what the doctors want to do. So patients should always get involved in their and management of their health condition, and they are they have the right to have information regarding all the records that the doctor keeps.
Because you're an advocate for yourself.
Yes, that's the right.
So then
Because
moving forward, what do you want to see changed?
now what I want to see is the patient should have more involvement in the healthcare agenda, and there must be participation of the community how they want the healthcare to evolve.
Okay. All right. So here it is. We're gonna just leave it a couple questions. Just let everybody know if you're watching and you have any questions, you can put the questions in the chat. Just type it into the chat, and we'll pull it up on screen, and you can ask any questions you're moving forward. All right. So here it is. Where do you see us in the next 10 years?
I think that there will be many changes coming. There will be development of new medicines, and I think the medicine will be individualized. There is what you call genetic treatment that's now developing, and I hope that with the genetic development, with the genetic development of medical care, there will be more and healthy conditions will be resolved.
Right. So one step at a time. It's one thing and advocating another thing. So now for
Yes.
us moving forward, how can we help you to let people know? Like what can we do as a community to help?
The community should advocate for themselves. For example, if there is an advocate for the access to healthcare, access to new medication, they should come together and advocate for themselves to access the cutting edge of health.
Right. So and can we do anything? Like can we, do you think talking to our government, talking to our officials, going to meetings, what is there that we can do as well?
Yeah, and physicians should and politicians should be held responsible. And when there is a election or something like that, they should evolve and talk about the health agenda, not about the general. For example, in the case of the sickle cell or
Right.
many other diseases, uh, you have got the pharmaceutical companies. When there is a rare disease, they are just inclined not to proceed because there is no funding for that. So the
Mhm.
government should fund more and should inject more funds to developing of medication for the rare diseases.
So we need to talk to our government and say, hey, look, you're putting a lot of money here, here, and here, but
Yes,
this is what we
as you remember, sickle cell even was not in the newborn screening years ago. I
right.
was there in the sickle cell in Toronto when we were advocating together. There was Dr. Odami and many other health professionals, and even sickle cell was not there. So that
Mhm.
means nagging and disease that exists, and it is a public health emergency because nowadays the people coming and the people who were there already and in America, you cannot say that this disease does not exist. So with with advocacy, we have reached that the sickle cell be included mandatorily in the newborn screening. So
Right.
that's the fruits that has been achieved through advocacy.
And what was the pushback? Like you said, you were there many years ago. What was the pushback?
Because because there was no many persons advocating for there, and the people affected by this disease were not being and were not being listened to, and that brings that it has become a neglected disease.
Oh, okay. Because if you don't listen and to pay attention, you're like, okay, yeah, 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 and you move on without
And
really
you move
listening.
on. Yes, yes. So when there's elections, the the politicians should talk about what they will do about the rare diseases, concrete things
Right. So just don't mention it. What's the next movement? What is the moving forward? What are we going to do moving forward?
that all the associations,
Hmm.
especially when I'm talking about sickle cell, they
Right.
unify themselves, have one voice. There's nothing bad about having many associations, but coming together, putting their strength together, and having one voice.
Right. I like that. One voice moving forward, letting everybody understand what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. So what's the next step for you? Where can we see you and what are you doing?
Now, since I'm moving to, because from Italy, I'm moving to London. I have contacted with the Sickle Cell Association of Ireland, and I have contacted also the Sickle Cell here. And I was trying to, in future, to just link them together, develop a program together, and align their programs together. So,
Mm,
so Europe can have one voice too.
I like that. It's the one voice. If
Yes,
we're all on the same page and we're pushing, then everybody's on the same page. When you go anywhere, when you say the certain words, let me ask you this one question. When you were teaching people about sickle cell,
yes,
what was the main focus? Because when we explain it and we have to
yes,
explain it again for people to understand and again for people to understand that it's not something that goes away and comes back. It's there for life. How did you explain it?
yes. First of all, it is not good to and lose hope. There will be a development of new medication that will help those who are affected now and who have the full-blown disease. But with those other people, I would say always it is better to do and what you call now your sickle cell status before marriage, before everything you should know. So you are prepared and you
Hmm.
know what is happening and whether you carry the genes or not. So the people should do what you call and 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 status of their sickle cell. They should know it beforehand.
Right, and knowing that's what everybody is the first thing. Knowing your
Yes,
status is key.
is the key. It is a very simple test. It is it carries a lot of explanation to you. It will have effect on your decision what you will do in the future, and it is good to have knowledge. Knowledge is power.
I like that. Knowledge is power. 'Cause a lot of time, you're looking
Yeah,
for answers, you're looking for a
yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
when you say knowledge is power, let's stop right there for a second. How do we get the knowledge so we can have the power? What do we need to do?
It means that we, as the people who has this rare disease, I'm talking about the sickle cell.
Right.
There should be uh, the young people should go to the universities, have access to education, have access to the information they need to decide what they have to do. So
Hmm.
many young people should go to the universities and to the colleges, and in turn they should teach the people what they need to do.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
For over 20 years, the health and wellness team at Morgan Chiropractic and Wellness, MCW, has been helping people live healthier, happier lives. Many have been individuals and families from the sickle cell community. Providing chiropractic and massage therapy will help alleviate joint and muscle pains. Naturopathic medicine and psychotherapy will support your nutritional and emotional needs. MCW is proud to support the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario and the Lily Johnson Scholarship Fund. Call us today to book your consultation. 416-447-7600.
All right. So we are back live. And then before the break, you talk about knowledge is power, knowing it in your
Sure,
schools, pushing forward, educating yourself, and then being an advocate for yourself.
sure.
All right. So I'm going to leave the last word to you, my friend. What do you want to say and let them know that before we let you go, what's the last word?
Just the last word to say not to lose hope and let the associationists, the Sickle Cell Association, and all other, whether it is and foundation or associations, let us come together and share information
And sharing. So hold on. When you say share the information between each other, if you get something,
between.
if you get something, I get something. We just have it so we're all on the same
Let
page.
let us put together and align our goals.
Okay. I like that. Align our goals towards one focus, one drive.
Yes.
All right. Well, I thank you so much for joining us. I'm actually going to thank Serena's in the background. I'm just going to bring her on to thank you as well.
Just
Serena,
I
so
want to
go ahead.
excuse myself with that my slides were not moving. I was having a little bit of technical glitch, and sorry about that.
Oh, that's no problem. This is live stream. Things happen, but it's the information that we gather, and the information was
Yes,
key for us, and that's what made it great for us is getting the information so we know, like you said, what to do, how to move forward, and I think that is the most important thing. So I just want to thank you for taking the time for coming out. Because what time is it right now?
you're welcome. Here in London is 6:40
6:40 in the afternoon. So
in the
is it?
afternoon.
Did we pass the tea and crumpets part, or are we still in that location?
Yeah, we are still in that location.
But thank you, my friend, so much, and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.
My my pleasure.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Great gentleman, and he has a wealth of knowledge. And you can catch him, and we'll put the links in. We'll put the links in where you can see him and get some more information about it. So, two things I'm going to walk away from this. What he said is knowledge is power. We knew that before, but knowledge is power when we come together. So here's the thing, like he said, if everybody has the different knowledge and we can all be on the one stream, it's 10 times better. So I love that idea. All right. We're going to show you a quick video coming up. We have Yvonne coming on. Yvonne's in the green room. She can turn on her camera so we can bring her forward. So Yvonne, if you're watching, if you could turn your camera on, please welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Yvonne. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. And you?
I'm fantastic. We just listened to the doctor, and he gave us a lot of
Yep,
information. And
love the information.
and the reason I was asking him all those questions because I know I was leading into you of your experience.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like what you've gone through, certain things you have done. We have a video, but I just want you to introduce yourself and just talk about you before I play the video.
Yeah, I'm Yvonne Davidson, and I'm a sickle cell. I have sickle cell disease. I discovered that when I was about 11 years old. And prior to that, I was just a regular little girl running around, happy, go lucky, love hanging out with my friends. And then one day, just fell ill, and that's when I discovered that I have the disease. It's been a long road. Rough road that I've traveled, and I'm sure it's the same situation for many sickle cell trait people with the disease, the traits, and all of that. It hasn't been easy. Going to the emergency room is, I've always felt like an imposter going into the emergency room because I, felt like no one understood. They didn't believe you. They had doubts. First of all, they don't identify with you. Most of the people that are coming in with sickle cell disease are being treated by people that don't look like them.
Okay.
And so there's a disconnect. And so they don't identify, they don't see you as their niece, their nephew, their brother, sister, child. And so the disconnect is there. So, it's whatever, they'll do what they can. There's no empathy. There's no sympathy, if you will. And the fact that you're not believed. They think you're coming in, you just want to get high on drugs and all of that. And that is never the case. At least I know for myself, I can only speak for myself. Don't like drugs, don't drink, don't smoke, never done all of that. Whenever I go into the ER is always when I feel as if I'm taking my last breath. So I would suffer. And that's not the best way to go because, my doctor, my hematologist told me once, he said, always try to, hit the pain in the head with a sledgehammer. Get it really good and real early. And you stand a chance of overcoming that crisis as soon as possible. But no, a lot of us stay home and we suffer, and you know what I mean, before we decide to go into the hospital, which is, just bad overall for anyone.
Right.
So yeah, so I can remember my last major episode was like 4 years ago, thank God. And during that crisis, I had 3 times I was overdosed. 3 times I was have to give in an antidote to come back to. I was dying, and if I didn't have my family, my husband to advocate for me, I would not be here right now. I know when you're in crisis, you absolutely cannot advocate for yourself because you're in so much pain. You're so fatigued. You just want to die pretty much. And my husband, I remember the first time I was in Toronto General, I took ill at my job, which is downtown right across from the hospital. And my coworker brought me over, and I was in the ER and I was crying, I was dying. And they registered me and whatever. And I was sitting there and I was in so much pain and agony. And I remembered my coworker went up to the admin person and she said, is there a bed or a room that we can go in? Because she's not in a good state, and she needs to be comfortable. Right. Oh no, she just has to wait until her turn comes around. And she turned to her and she said, do you see anyone else in this room behaving the way she is? Do you think this is a joke? And she started going at her, and I was just there, just hoping that God will, something will happen soon, and I won't be in this issue. And eventually she went back because she's a nurse. She's from Cuba. She's a nurse, so she has an idea, and so she was able to advocate for me. And so eventually they came with a wheelchair and they wheeled me into a room, and they administer medication not very long after that. And pretty much they weren't paying attention, and they were giving me too much of the medication until I kind of went unconscious. By that time, my husband arrived at the hospital, and he was sitting with me. I remembered when he came, and he was there, and then he said, I just kind of went off, and he called and he said, something is up. My wife, I've been with her for how long? I've seen her through how many crises, and I've never seen her like this. She's not responding. She's not conscious. She's just, reacting to the medication. He said, you guys need to do something now. And that's when they started doing whatever, and they had to administer the antidote, and I came to. And during that crisis, 2 other times after that, this happened. So, it's important to have someone by your side. If I know a lot of people might not have family and, people around them, but try and find somebody. Educate your community about sickle cell, about what, you're going through, and, what you endure whenever you're in crisis. Another thing is take care of yourself. Getting to know yourself, getting to know your body, understanding who you are, understanding what are the things that triggers you, right. What could push you into a crisis. And that is very important. For me, loving yourself first. You must always, and it took me a while. I have kids. I was all about my kids, all about my family, was not taking care of me. And that is not the way to go. Always, always put you first. You have to be on the top of your list, right. And do the things on a daily basis that, makes you feel good, because happiness is important. You have to be happy. If you're stressed, that could pull this thing out of wherever it is, hiding all this time. Okay. And just live in the moment. Understanding that, I used to be, why me, why me? Now, right. It's not why me, it's why not me. You know what I mean? God didn't make any mistakes, I don't think. There's a reason, you know what I mean? And I used to be ashamed of my disease. Now I'm not. I will talk to anyone and everyone that will listen to me, because it's important for people to know. The more people knows about the disease, the more education, the more your community will understand what you're going through. The more your hospital emergency room, attendants will have empathy on you, because when you go in, you're not like an alien coming in from outer space. They don't have a clue what the hell is going on here.
Right.
Who is this person?
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's backtrack then, because okay. So let me ask you a couple of questions, because you said some things that I wanted to ask. When you go to the hospital, you've had this done already. You've seen the thing. Do you feel that when you get ready to go to the hospital, you have to look a certain way? Like, do you have
For
to?
me,
Yeah.
when I'm in crisis, I don't care. I have no pride. I have no shame. I'm a mess. I'm so vulnerable.
Mhm.
I'm so high on pain. That was never an issue for me. The way I look, my hair could be going all over the place. Take me as I am. Pretty much, and that may be an issue when because presentation, of course, a lot of people say presentation is key, but when you're in crisis, when you're in that pain, looking a certain way does not take precedent over the way that you're feeling. All I want to do is to get better, feel better.
So do you feel that as an adult, they didn't take your pain as serious if you were like a smaller child?
Correct. Because I remembered when I was younger back home, I would go to the hospital. It was a different story compared to when I became an adult and I'm here in Canada and going, it's a different, they don't care. You're sitting in the waiting room for hours in pain on the floor. Because all you want to be is to feel comfortable. You want to be able to breathe without feeling like there's a million knives going through your ribs and your everywhere, every part of you. You want to be, just feeling well. And sometimes they just don't see you. You're invisible.
So
invisible.
So when you're there and you have somebody advocating for you, what steps do you do? Like, do you watch the clock or say, okay, we got in here at 6:15. How long have I been here? I need to go talk to somebody again. Okay, wait, it's 1:45. They haven't even taken my pulse yet. Okay, it's 2:45. Like, all these things you have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, you're because you just can't wait for help. You just can't. Even sometimes the help is not immediate. You might start getting medication. It takes hours. Could probably take days before you start getting a relief. Right? But you want to know that something has started. And that alone will make you, you know what I mean? That space, that mental space. Okay, there's hope. I'm going to feel better maybe in a couple of days or a couple, whatever. So you're always watching, and my husband's always going up, yo, what's going on? She needs help. And if I didn't have him or my son or my daughter going up and saying, look, she's dying. She needs help. Please, this is not my mom on a regular day. She's up and going and doing her thing. Look at her. She's vulnerable.
Hold on. Hold on. You look fine.
I look fine. I'm not bleeding out.
No blood. There's no
anything's happening.
So you must be fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you must be
fine. My guts is not hanging out. I don't have 10 shots going, bullets go, in my body, and blood is oozing. So what's wrong with her? Really? You're acting. You're faking. And that's what I get. They don't look at you. They don't make eye contact. They just, the way that you get treated, it kills my soul, which is already dead from this disease. And, sometimes I remembered my son is like me. Quiet demeanor when there's nothing, in his face. And I remember the last time I was in the hospital, my son, because when I'm in full crisis, I cannot walk. I cannot move my limbs. I can't do anything. I'm in a vegetative state. And, I needed to use the bathroom. And I asked the nurse, she was in the room, and I said, can you please bring me a bedpan? And she said, oh, can't you just get up and go to the bathroom? It's just right over there. And my son said, are you kidding me? Are you really a nurse? Or maybe you're the imposter here, because you obviously don't understand when people are in this crisis, this bad a crisis, their limbs don't work. What school did you go to? Why don't you go educate yourself? And he went ham on her. And I'm like, I've never seen my son like that.
Mhm.
And I was just lying there in the bed and I'm like, oh God, help me. And
Okay.
and that's when, and she, she took offense, but
Mhm.
you're a healthcare worker. You're supposed to have empathy. Don't judge. You know what I mean? And I'm a Black woman. I'm a woman. I'm Black, and I have
Mhm.
sickle cell. I have 3 strikes against me as it is already. I'm vulnerable. I need people. I'm dependent on people to take care of me. Do you think I want this? No, I don't. But that is my life.
Okay, so here
Yeah.
we got some comments coming in, so I just want to
Mhm.
pop them up on the screen. Our good friend Usually, thank you so much. He goes, "What do we need to do to change that mindset from the healthcare professionals or symptoms? Like, what can we do? When we go in, do we have to constantly tell them, all right, listen, before you start, I have this. This is this and this. Or do we need to bring like a little cue card? You know what I mean? Before they start working on us, do you have to hand them a cue card so they can understand, like, what do we need to do?"
It's not our job to go into the ER and educate people when you're in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
If you have people taking care of you, you have people doing these jobs, it's their job to make sure they know about each disease. You might not know about it fully or to the extent where you're an expert.
Right.
But I think, first of all, healthcare professionals, people that are on the front line, should have empathy.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who you are, no matter what complexion you have, should have empathy. Someone's coming in, they need our help. Empathy first. Understanding what the issue is. For me, it's about education and awareness. Educating our, the environment, your community, the people around you, and these people should be taught. They should be going to and taking courses on a regular basis.
Right.
Customer service is key. Even if you're the surgeon of all surgeons,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have bedside manners. You need to have customer service. You need to understand that each person that comes into that ER
Right.
is human and deserve respect. They deserve to be treated with dignity. Don't dehumanize them any more than they are already. And so I think training on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
I work in customer service. We have to do training, loads and loads of training on a regular basis to keep on top, know what the trends are, what's going on, and just be ready for people. I'm in the healthcare industry as well. I'm talking to sick people all the times or their family. I have to be in that space at all times, that these people are not calling because they want to talk to me.
Okay, so hold on. Let me bring on. I see Serena's in the background. I'm going to bring Serena on. I know I'm going a little bit off script, Serena.
Mhm.
Just work with me here. Serena.
Hello.
Okay. Oh,
You're echoing.
yes. Yeah. Turn off the other one. I'm going to disconnect your other one for you. So don't worry. Just give me 1 second. Okay. There we go. So the reason I want to bring you on is because you had the similar experience. All right. And I just want to connect them. So it's not just Yvonne complaining. Yvonne's just complaining. You know what I mean? The people think, oh, maybe
Don't
she's
complain at all. Very grateful, full of gratitude.
Exactly. So does it happen to everybody? Someone might be thinking, no, maybe it was just a one-off. You know what I mean? Does it happen to everybody, man and woman? And the answer is, Serena?
Yes.
It varies. It varies, but it's very common.
Yeah.
Everything that Yvonne was saying right now, yes, I've gone through it. I've gone through it by myself, and then I've gone through it with, with family, with friends that was with me. But fortunately, they knew how to advocate for me. I mean, with my family, my sister knows completely what to do because she was in the healthcare system as well, healthcare field at one point too. So she knew how to get things rolling for me. My daughter, she's still young, but she understands the importance of advocacy. And then, my colleagues those with the association, those in the community, if they happen to be with me in the hospital, I'm grateful because they know exactly what to do as well. And as she, and you know, Yvonne hit it on the nail. You just do not, you don't have the capacity like to move. You can't, with a crisis, it's very debilitating.
Right.
And so you just want the help. You just want the help. Like, can somebody just come help me?
Yeah.
And that's all you're asking for, just the help.
In some
yes, we shouldn't wait too long before we go into the hospital. We should be taking care of the pain right away. If it doesn't work at home, you know, within a couple of hours, I know I have to go to the hospital. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna wait. I try not to wait too long.
Yeah.
Right.
I try not to wait too long. And the reason, I guess people are wondering, why do we wait so long? The reason behind it is because of the fact that, you know, we're scared. We don't know.
You don't want to go through. You don't want to go through all that.
Go through all of that.
We don't know who we're going to encounter.
Exactly.
We do not know who we're going to encounter.
We're
praying. We're hoping. Yeah, we're hoping and praying that at least, you know, somebody on the staff during the shift will be able to take care of us, know what to do, and you know, take the reins and take it from there. So that's the thing.
I'm gonna speak from a father's standpoint. My son has sickle cell disease, and when we go in there, I just can imagine what you're going through and have to talk to them. I'm going through is I don't have the pain. I'm the father, and sometimes it's the same thing. They look at him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fine. There's no blood. There's no cuts. There's no whatever. And I'm like, no, he's in extreme pain right now. He's like, what is it? They're like, oh, okay. I remember the first time we went, they're like, okay, well, he's in pain. Okay, well, we'll give him some Tylenol. Like, no. Hold on. You can't give them Tylenol because then it's going to mask the fever. It's going to do, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, if you knew these things, then I wouldn't have to tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that. Yeah. You want that one person to say, I've gone there once, and like you said, you go, oh, my son has sickle cell. Oh, he does? Yeah. Okay, what's his fever? When last time did this? Like, she knew, and I was like, oh, you know? She's like, yeah, I know what it is, and boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we're not asking for special treatment, but we're just asking for treatment. We're asking for doing your job and doing your thing,
taking care of that person.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. Yeah. So it's the advocate. It's telling people what it is.
Yeah.
For them to understand. But then it goes back to this now then. Do we need to lobby schools when they're training nurses that, hey, you need to know this? And not only to know it, to see the signs. So just because Yvonne or Serena walks in, you need to see the sign. How's she acting? What is she doing? You know, she's been sitting there for a while, and I keep seeing her wince for her back. She keeps twisting her back. Her back keeps moving. You know, she keeps grabbing her back and pushing to the side. She's trying to massage her back because the pain is there. Do we see these things? Then we say something's not right, and then we move forward.
Yeah.
So there's a video that I want to play, and just to show some of it. So if you guys can just stay right there. And we'll see if you can hear it. Just give me a thumbs up. All right.
First presentation of sickle cell disease may be when they're 6 months old. They have swollen hands and swollen feet, and it's clear there's something bad going on. Those children are treated appropriately. They're given pain medications. Everyone wants to do everything they can to help the baby. As you grow older, you have less of those manifestations.
Is that the same thing that you guys go through? Serena, Yvonne?
Sorry. Yes. I wasn't able to hear it, but
Yeah,
I
I
do know
didn't
the
hear
video.
most of it. Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. So what she was saying is every time she goes in, you know, it's a scale. She's got to
Yeah.
tell what the scale is between 1
Right.
and 10,
And 10.
how she's feeling, what the movements are. And
Mhm.
do you constantly have to be telling somebody on a scale what it is?
Yes.
Explain that for us.
Yep.
Yes, we have
Mm-hmm.
to, the first thing they ask us, you know, what's your pain scale?
What level?
And, you know, it's an automatic 10, you know, but by the
Mhm.
time, because by the time we get there, it's between 8, 9, and 10. But if it was out of 100, you know, it would be more than that, way more than that. I think saying when we say 10, it's hard. I guess it's hard for them to believe that it's that bad.
Exactly.
Because we're so used to it, and it's not showing on our face.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Okay.
so used to the pain that we're not showing it. We're not showing the agony.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. If anything, we're just rocking back and forth, just like that lady on
Mm-hmm.
the screen, like just rocking back and forth. Maybe a tear coming down our face, but we're not crying. We're not, you know, making noise. We're not drawing attention to ourselves, which is so strange. It's like we're not drawing attention to ourselves, but we want attention so we can get help. So, you know, it's almost like, it's almost embarrassing because it is absolutely painful and excruciating. We don't know what to do.
You do, exactly.
Okay, so then let me ask you this one point, because in the video, it seems like the sound's not working. So I'm just going to alliterate what they're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, she said in the video, when I go there, they think I'm just here for drugs.
Yeah.
I'm just seeking
drugs. Yeah. You want to get high. Yeah. You're an addict.
Yes.
You're out of your medication. You only got a refill three weeks ago, and it was so and so many, and now you don't have any. You're just back for more. And that's not the case. Not the case. At least I can speak for myself. I hate hospitals.
and that's
I'm not going there if I don't have to.
And that's not an experience people should have. They should think that there's a hospital there to help me, to move forward,
make me better, to make me get back to functioning status. You know what I mean? Where I can get up and walk and move around and do things for myself without having to wait on people. That's the goal, but that's not the case.
So what do you say when they ask you, you know, well, have you had this before? Have you took the drug before? What level of drugs have you? How many times have you had it? What's your pain threshold? What do you say?
Yeah, I just tell them, and if I'm not able to, then my husband or my son or my daughter will say yes. So she's on this. She you know, this is what she takes and how often, and you know, to her behavior right now, the way she's, you know, behaving. She's at a 10, no doubt, a 10 plus. She needs help, hydration, whatever it is that will help to, you know, subside the pain.
Right. All right. So if you can say anything, okay, they put you in the room one-on-one with the doctors. What's the key thing, the main thing you want them to know?
The main thing I want them to know is that I love life, and being in this situation does not cut it for me. I don't want to be here. And if I'm here, it means that I need help. I'm desperate. I'm vulnerable. Please understand that. And please do the best you can to help me as fast as you can.
All right, Serena?
This is definitely something not to play around
with.
Yes,
sorry, I'm not able to hear Yvonne, but you know, the one thing that I would want when a doctor sits down and, well, they don't sit, but when they come and visit your room, when they come and visit your room, and, you know, you want to hear out of their mouth, you know, okay, I understand. Well, after they ask all the questions, and I say, you know, I take this amount of medication, I want to hear that they understand that, and we're going to go ahead and try you on it right now to hit the pain on, right on its head, because that's the main thing. Like, you want the pain to be dealt with right away. You don't want it to linger, because the longer it lingers, then there's a possibility of you being admitted, because it is just it's just lasting too long in the bones and the joints, and then there's inflammation on top of that and everything. So with the pain, so you want to hear from the doctor, yes, okay, we're going to try this method the way that you suggest and see how that works. And then we go from there, because sometimes we'll give them information on the amount of medication that we're taking and how we take it and so forth. And then they change the routine. Yeah. And for me, I know for a fact that, say, instead of taking things orally, I like IV is better for me. So I have to tell them that and so forth. Faster. So we have to let them know what works for us. And I want to hear that, okay, yes, we'll start that out and see how it works and how it goes. See how it goes.
Okay, so here's a last question for both of you. Okay, new parents. Okay, new parents that have a child with sickle cell. How are you explaining it to them? How do you explain them to deal with the hospital?
Well, it's good to know your hospital. It's good to know the hospital that is in your neighborhood, or close by, the closest one. It's good to know, the doctors there as well. See if there is a hematologist there. See if there is, someone in internal medicine that understands sickle cell, and try to get familiar with their system. So even if, there's patient relations, you can talk to them and say, I would like to meet so-and-so, or I would like to see what your emergency room looks like. What is the procedure? Do you have protocol? And so forth. You want to get familiar with the hospital and with your doctors and with your health team, and let them know, this is the hospital I go to. So is it okay? Are you guys familiar? Are you guys comfortable with dealing with sickle cell and so on?
Gotcha. Okay. Well, listen. Thank you so much for both of you coming on and telling your stories. And, somebody that's listening that says, I'm going through that right now. These are little helpful tips that maybe I can move forward. And if anybody's listening in the medical field, listen to these lovely ladies. Listen what they're going through. Little things you can change will make a world of difference. Okay. And I'm asking you right now, we're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for, the key word that I use is treatment. Okay. At the end of the day, it's treatment. We come in, we want to see.
Everybody deserves that.
It's the same time as everybody else. We're sitting there. Sometimes the weight room is full, whatever, but we're there for a reason. We wouldn't be showing up if you weren't there for a reason. So
better things to do.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come on, and we have a little bit of entertainment coming from you. Spoken word, lovely lady. She's in the background. I can see her in the background. Give us a thumbs up. You're ready to go. There it is. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Oh, thank you.
For over 20 years, the health and wellness team at Morgan Chiropractic and Wellness, MCW, has been helping people live healthier, happier lives. Many have been individuals and families from the sickle cell community. Providing chiropractic and massage therapy will help alleviate joint and muscle pains. Naturopathic medicine and psychotherapy will support your nutritional and emotional needs. MCW is proud to support the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario and the Lily Johnson Scholarship Fund. Call us today to book your consultation.
CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top, and And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com. Yes, we are back live, and I want to bring back Serena for a few seconds just to talk about the organization and how you can come in and support and all the wonderful things that they're doing. So please welcome back to the platform, Serena. So Serena, we were just telling the audience about donating, different events that you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit more about your organization?
Yeah, so Sickle Cell Association of Ontario is 40 years old. And so we are going to be celebrating with our 40th anniversary later this year. And what we are priding ourselves on is the fact that we're able to support quite a few people in the organization, especially through COVID time. We were able to put together an initiative, a COVID-19 relief initiative for individuals and families living with sickle cell, where they were able to get gift cards from us and to help them with those important amenities and groceries, anything in the grocery store that you could get and so forth. So we didn't want anybody struggling during COVID. And so we came up with this initiative, thanks to Yulis Gaye, who is on our committee, on our board. We also have, we've done a lot of things where we've strengthened the foundation of the organization. So we have tried our best to strengthen our bylaws and our policies and procedures and so forth. So we can continue serving the community and supporting those who really need the help. Sometimes we help them out. We help families out with their appointments. If they need to go to an appointment and they don't feel, like they know the questions to ask. Mm-hmm. So we'll be able to help them out that way. We show them, we will guide them on how to deal with their appointments as well. And then that way they're an advocate for themselves, an advocate for, either their child or whoever it is that they're going in with. They'll learn all those skills.
Okay, so here, what I'm going to do is there's the website. I've added the link. Now, the donation is there. You want to give a donation. There's a lot of information on this site that you can go there and what they're doing, how they're doing, some information, key information, and some of the organizations, some of the events that they do, like the Christmas, the galas. Talk about the gala and the Christmas and how that's helping if people can buy tickets. I know before COVID, we were doing it, and hopefully next year or the year after we'll be able to see each other again. But there's little things you can do to donate to the cause and help them out. So talk about that, the donation.
Yes, so you can go on our website, sicklecellontario.ca. The donate button should be on the top right of the website. It will take you straight to our Canada Helps link, where you can pick general giving. Right now, we're trying to get donations for Lily Johnson Scholarship Fund. So so once you press the donate button at the top there, it will take you to where you can pick from a drop down box, and you can pick either, there's Ujima Hardship Fund. So that is also a fund for those who are going through some rough times. Maybe they need help with rent, maybe they need help with their medication, maybe they need help with transportation. Maybe, we had somebody that just needed to get their warehouse, a license in the warehouse so they could be able to use a forklift. So we help them out in certain ways, as long, and then out of the GMA Hardship Fund, we encourage the families or the individuals to give back to the community. And ways of giving back could be, volunteering, helping with the events. They don't have to even volunteer with us. They can volunteer with any organization that is championing sickle cell disease. So,
So
yeah.
the one thing, if you mind, if I can cut in here for a second, is volunteers and become a member. Talk about volunteers
Yes.
and membership.
Okay, so yes, you can become a volunteer. You can just easily just fill out the form online. Let us know your times and dates that you prefer that you would be able to help out, and we would definitely give you a call back or email you to let you know what events is coming up and where we would need their help. To become a member is, we actually host our annual general meeting every year, which by coincidence is coming up next Thursday. And that the annual general meeting is once a year, where members are able to get an update on the organization and also get to vote. They'll be able to get to vote and make decisions, ask questions, everything during the meeting. And so if you become a member, then you would be sent some information on the AGM when it does come along. And all you have to do is just pay membership and
Okay.
show up.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So if you want to get more involved, you can also go get the info line, info at sicklecellontario.ca, and go from there. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right. So we have our star in the background waiting. Let me bring her on. Please welcome to the show.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. We're so happy that you could be here with us.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. So, where are you calling in from right now?
I'm calling in from Brighton, England, where I go to school.
Yes, but tell us a little bit more about that, because I was reading your bio. Are you from there?
I'm not. No, I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Yeah, but now you're studying all the way in England. Tell us about that.
I don't know. I just applied to only universities in Europe when I was going to university in 2019, and I ended up here, and I love it here. And now it's just like my home. So I'm happy to be back because I couldn't go back last year because of COVID.
All right, so you need to make sure. I'm putting in my order now for some Ribena and some crumpets. Make sure when you're coming back, you bring some back for us, okay?
Yeah, I'll make note of it.
All right, so you're here to do spoken word for us.
I am, yes.
All right, well, we can't wait to hear it. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm just going to be quick about it. I have two pieces. I wasn't sure which one was best for this event. And so the first piece I'm going to start with is a piece that I have had for a while, and as life goes on, I kind of add to it, take away from it, and it's a poem that I use to empower people, especially young people, because that's just who my audience usually is. But it is called Edge, and I'm just going to jump right in. At every edge of this earth, there is a young person looking for guidance. Turns every corner looking for something to fill the silence or end the violence, or simply looking for someone to understand. We often edge closer and closer to either success or destruction when we have tools to bridge gaps between everyone and everything. We have to learn to love each other. Love ourselves for everything we didn't have, all the help and handouts never given to us, and choose to smile fight despite it all. We are cutting edge. We stand on the edge of every cliff, not ready to be pushed in, and fighting to stand on safer ground. We step outside our limit, outside our comfort zone as we edge closer to what's always been our own. We empower, we develop, we grow, and we educate. Empower, to give power or authority. Now, power is a strong word. Power of words, power of actions, power to make the change in the world possible. Authority, we need authority, the authority to be conscious and responsible for our lives, the authority to stop anyone from trying to break us. So to empower means to enable. To allow something or someone to be uplifted. We are being enabled to be better. To show the world we're not willing to follow others blindly, aimlessly. No, we are empowered to be better, to make a change. You see, the world, it needs us. We will rearrange the outlook on youth that says we are useless, reckless. We are their future. Our changes to this world will be endless. Develop. To bring up the capabilities, the possibilities we are developing. We are more capable than ever before. Whoever tried to stop us will have power no more. We have possibilities. We are the possibilities. We make the world go round. We open doors. We make opportunities. We shake the solid ground because we are the future. We will destroy and rebuild. We will reform a foundation under our feet, and we will fulfill every promise to our earth that would not be if not for we grow. To increase in substance, to form. We are being formed into the people we are supposed to be. We will take this earth by storm. They will see the greatness we bring to our city, our country, our planet. We will not take this opportunity for granted. We will take the time to grow, to be taught, to be formed, so we can inform the world on the progress it needs to make. We are growing through the gentle hands of our caregivers. We are growing successfully, fruitfully, happily. We will make the change we want to see in the world with the happiest smiles on our faces. We will cover all bases. We will grow better. We will be better. Then we'll show the world to be better, to educate. Teach as we learn, use our minds to grace our world with knowledge so they can know better, to do better, and engage them. To occupy their attention, we are being enabled to, we are developing to, we are growing to educate. We will catch the world's attention. We will shine a light on what's wrong. We will engage others to help the cause. We will make such a change. All that will be left are drop jaws. We will educate. Grab attention, seek and hope to find, touch hearts and radically change minds, educate. As we pray to invoke empathy, awake compassion, as we make knowledge our passion, often we've forgotten that we have an edge over others. Call ourselves victims, forgetting the resilience, the courage, the love our trials have given us. So yes, we'll take the edge, because at the end of the day, we are that edge. Thank you.
Wow, that one was powerful.
Thank
So,
you very much.
before you go to the next one, how long you been writing for?
I've been writing for 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, continue with the next one.
Thank you. So this next one is called Seek, and it's actually a more personal poem that I wrote. When I was speaking to Serena, she mentioned how it would be lovely just to talk about some of the trials that we face. You know, we all went through this very difficult year. And so this is a poem specifically about me, a bit about my life, and then a lot about the last year that we have faced, and you know how my faith and my relationship with God actually helped me. And you know, I see with my friends and my family how all these different avenues, you know, community, you know, quitting jobs, losing jobs, how all of these things have radically changed people's lives, and in a lot of instances improve them. And so this is just one of the ways that my faith has you know, strengthened me and helped me through probably the most difficult year of my life. I am attempting to find something worth holding on to, My life had slipped through my palms before I had time to grasp on to a stable reality. My fears, they buried me, held me under until I couldn't breathe, made me vicious so my heart was scared of me. I have this desire to obtain something greater, be better than I am, forget all that made me unable, yet there are burdens that crush my soul because I hate where I came from. But I'm so scared of where I'll go. I was 3 years old when the first gun was pointed at my face. A toddler when fear set into my bones as the men in blue took my father away. I was 8 years old when I gave my life to Jesus, hoping for a life better than what I had experienced, hoping to feel joy stronger than my sorrow, for a life that didn't feel borrowed. 8 years old when I met my first bully, when I let him make a meal of me, starve me of my happiness, shielded me from God's goodness. 12 years old when I stopped eating, hoping for a reason to be better than I am, hoping for an avenue to find friends, concave with brittle bones. I fell to my knees, hoping God would love me more once I was prettier, skinnier, praying he would have more mercy on me if I looked better. 15 when I asked God to take me away. 15 when I repented and pleaded for him to let me stay. 18 when I found a better church, Christian friends, in a new relationship, one I could forever count on, one between a father and his daughter, where I found joy and prayer and surrender, a relationship that reminded me that I am a king's daughter. 19 when I went back home. 19 when the world started to understand the horror of living in black skin. 19 when I attended every protest, wrote every poem, wrote until my fingers and heart would bleed, tears that would never end, terrified of what was to come from my brothers, my sisters, the black community. 19 when my sister passed away. A drill in an already gaping hole in my soul. I tried to pray. I went to church, but I couldn't understand. I couldn't feel. All I was hurt. It's been a month, yet I still can't fully understand. Knowing I'll never again see her smile or her voice so sweet, but I rest assured that she dances in the paradise she deserves with our Heavenly Father. 19, when I couldn't return to school. An escape I thought I needed, no longer on my path. 19, and I sit unsure of what's next. Every day I pray and feel safe, knowing all the heartache I face is required to test my faith, to build me stronger, so I am prepared for what is in store. Every problem has a purpose, yet I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm meant to do, but I know I never have to carry my burdens alone. I know my father hasn't brought me this far to leave me, and it took me 16 years to finally believe, and I am so happy that I have an almighty father, a father who is always rooting for me. I have been trying to find something to hold on to, seek and hope to find, and what I found was the promises of my father, whose love is never ending and forever divine. Thank you.
All right, so I'm just putting it out there. I'm now her new agent, and we'll be going on tour pretty soon. You can catch us coming up soon in New York and every place after that. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really powerful words, and I think that sometimes we need to hear those words to understand where we're coming from and what we're doing, and things will be okay. So I'm glad that you saved the last one for us, because that was really powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. We'll see you next time.
Yes, goodbye.
Bye-bye. She was great. I love it. You know what I mean? I love when there's talent there, and you're not scared to put out your talent, say your story, and go for it. Love it. All right, we have something coming up to you, some more entertainment. This next performer, he's a junior award-winning and passionate reggae artist. He goes by the name of Correction, and he's a good friend of mine as well. I've used him on my street festivals, Cararam Entertainment. He's done different collaborations with all the big stars in Jamaica. He's all over Europe traveling. I think he sent this tape in, if I'm not mistaken, from the studios in Jamaica right now. So he's doing big things. So please welcome Correction.
What's up, everybody? Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you so much for Sickle Cell Association of Ontario for inviting Correction to be part of this weekend. Greatly appreciated. And I want to sing a couple songs. First song that I want to sing is dedicated to all the mothers, all the folks that have been helping out all the folks that have been affected by the sickle cell anemia, and as well as through the pandemic. So you can imagine how the double dose what's happening to all our people. So big up to everybody, and this song dedicated to all the mothers out there who've been helping out. Mr. DJ, ready? Squeeze now. Dedicated to other mothers. Name Mama You Know. I hope you like it. Mama always there for me, care for me, and never let me down. She's always there for me. She's always cared for me. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. You were with me every step of the way. When the road was rocky, like a shepherd, my life you stare. And Mama, now you need me, I'm gonna be there for you. Forget about your worries, it's my time to be there for you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know. During the good times, you were always beside me. And when it got bad, Mama, you had my back. So now that you need me, I'm gonna be there for you. Forget about your troubles, it's my time to be there for you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Mama always there for me, care for me, and never let me down. She's always share with me, helping me, and never wear a frown. Mama always there for me, care for me, and never let me down. She's always there for me, always care for me, yeah. Ooh, da 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 da. During the good times, you were always beside me, and when it got bad, Mama, you had my back. So now that you need me, everything I'll do for you. Forget about your worries, it's my time to be there for you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Mama always there for me, care for me, never let me down. She's always share with me, helping me, never wear a frown. Mama always there for me, care for me, and never let me down. She's always there for me, always care for me, yeah. Mama, you know, I care about you. Mama, you know, you know, I love you. Mama, you know, you know, I care about you. Yeah, man, thank you very much. Again, It's been a pleasure. This is the first song, and I hope you like it. So thank you. This song dedicated to the mama.
I had to give him a horn right there because that was fantastic. I see everybody in the green room. They're all swagging back and forth, getting messages on Instagram, Facebook. They're loving the messages. So you know what I'm going to do? How they say it back home, if you love it, you play it twice. So we're going to do a back-to-back. And coming up next, don't go nowhere, Dr. Des. Dr. Des is in the green room. If she can turn on her camera, and then we're going to go right after this. Stay connected. Coming up, more correction. Here we go.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, that song named Mama You Know. So the next song I'm about to sing is titled Can't Stop Us. Doesn't matter what we're going through right now, no matter what the situation is, just focus, my people. I'm begging you, really, really, truly telling you, say, put that in your mindset. They can't stop us. You know, the pandemic that we're in, they can't stop us. We got to get up, brush off, and keep on going. So this song named Can't Stop Us, dedicated to all the sickle cell anemia people. So hope you like it, yeah? Just show me what? Can't stop us. So come on, a little box. Yeah, 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 yeah. Can't stop us and all they can't. 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 Can't stop us and all they. I know they can't. Watch this. Moving fast like electric train. The music hits you, you feel no pain. Moving quick through snow or rain like a lion and just can't aim. Success is in my vein. Defeat stay in your lane. If you can't spot me, I'm out of sight. Cause I'm moving at the speed of light. Can't stop us and all they can't. 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 Can't stop us and all they. I know they can't. Like a lion in the jungle, vicious but humble. Some things in the life make you stumble, but don't you go down without a rumble. Rumble, hey. In the life there's so many barriers. Stand firm cause we are warriors. Fight with your heart and soul. Come in Main Street, where goes. Can't stop us and no they can't. I know they can't. Can't stop us and no 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 they. I know they can't. I know they can't. Yes, I know they can't. So, because you know so them can't stop you. Why you do me a favor? Why you put some man in the ear? Come on, everybody. Put some man in the ear. Do this. What we say? Come on. Hand in the ear cause you a winner. Hands up cause you a winner. Jump and shout cause you a winner. What? A winner. Come on. Hand in the ear cause you a winner. Hands up cause you a winner. Jump and shout cause you a winner. A winner. Yeah man, never say we winner. We always have to win, you know. No matter what you have to do in other life, you know, we have to win. So if you drop down right now, pick yourself up, brush off yourself. Yeah man. Come on. Them girls are queen, yeah man. Don't you bad mind them are free, them sad. My wall so me happy, I'm not sad. So no make nobody come hold it down, yeah? Stand up. Come on. Can't stop us and no they can't. 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 Can't stop us and no they. I know they can't. Can't stop us and no 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 they. I know they can't. Yeah man, correction I say it don't know. Yeah man, big up on yourself, yeah. Sickle Cell Association of Ontario. Big up yourself. Yeah man, big up everyone who's been supporting and contributing to this growth. Yeah man, that's community awareness. Morrison, K-O-R-E-X-I-O-N, you know. So big up to everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, man. Come on.
Let's give him another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely great. Thank you. And like I said, he's coming in, sending it all the way from Jamaica. So we thank you so much. You're watching. We see you on there. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to continue into the program. Coming up, Odessa Thornhill, a.k.a. the Dr. Des, offers natural medicine in support of women with suffering from irregular cycles. Now, I see here that she does things differently. She's going to talk to you more about it. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Des. How you doing? Take yourself off mute.
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. Now, I'm reading. It says holistic medicine,
Right.
you know, making them feel the body, the mind. It's not just about the body itself. Sometimes you got to clear your mind, how to do everything. You're going to tell us a little bit more about, because I like that pain regiment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can understand the pain and what makes you feel good. Like for me, sun. If I'm feeling down, I need to find some sunlight, just sit there in front of it. But that's not everybody. And you're going to tell us how to find what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about holistic medicine and how it can help to enhance our ability to heal.
I love it. Okay, well, the floor is yours.
Awesome. I'm just going to share my screen.
Yep.
Hold on a second here. Oh, there's a lot going on here. I'm sorry.
No worries. And as you're doing that, if you need more information of what's going on, please don't hesitate to go to the website and also send us an email. Say, listen, I saw the information. There's a lot of information there. I need to find out how Dr. Des can help me. Give us our contact number. I need to find out how you guys can help me move forward. I need an advocator when I go to the hospital. All of that stuff, we're here for you. Okay, I see your slides coming up.
It's coming up, but I'm not sure if I'm sharing the correct one. So, okay. Are you seeing this one that says chronic inflammation?
Yep, if you just enlarge that one and we can work with that one.
Okay. Awesome.
There you go.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just get my other notes here on the side. Wonderful. So once again, I am so honored to be here, a part of the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario for their Education Day and fundraising activities. My name is Dr. Des, Odessa Thornhill. I am a doctorate of natural medicine, registered natural therapist, practitioner, and a doula. And I help women to heal their reproductive illnesses, to increase their chances of pregnancy, and just learn how to create a deeper connection to themselves, their bodies, and their wombs using holistic medicine. Today, I'm going to be talking with everyone about chronic inflammation and its influence in disease. And this is an important piece because sickle cell disease is an underlying aspect of sickle cell disease is inflammation. So we'll be covering what inflammation is, how sickle cell is linked to inflammation. We'll be discussing the significance of a multi-system disorder. I want to talk with you about post-traumatic slave syndrome, if you've never heard of that before. And I also want to talk about real food versus junk food. So let's get into it. So what is inflammation, right? There is why we need it and why we don't. Most of the times people believe that we don't need it, but in actuality we do. So intermittent inflammation throughout our lives is necessary, and it's critical for survival during physical injury and infection. So if you think about those times where you've had a fever, you've gone up in body temperature, you've had a cut, and you've just seen a lot of inflammation, a heat around the bruised area, or a sprain, or actual complete break in the bone that you may have had, a sprain in your muscles or something, or allergies that can trigger our complex immune system. These are important because they send the fighters, they send a whole complex array of cells and molecules to the areas that are affected to help reduce the bacteria or virus or pathogens, whatever is affecting the issue, the area, right? Or if it's a break, to help the bleeding to stop. We just have this automatic system that jumps in and kicks in to help mitigate problems that can arise. Now, signs of inflammation that do not go away or develop without a legitimate trigger, they signify that the immune system is not, my thing here is hiding. I have working properly. There we go. And so what happens is that our immune system creates and maintains physical barriers to prevent pathogens such as bacteria and other viruses from entering the body. There's 2 layers of this inflammation system. And so when the first layer is breached, the second layer kicks in. And so it can be kicked in. You have the innate response and the adaptive immune response, right? But what happens is when we're dealing with low-grade fever, mineral deficiencies, when we're dealing with chronic illness, when we're talking about stress, when we look at other illnesses like, arthritis or cancer, rheumatoid arthritis and cholesterol, all of these are related to inflammation. Anytime there is a presence of inflammation in the body, we say that the body is leaning more towards an acidic state. There's higher heat. It's a breeding ground for more discomfort and dis-ease, right? So it's really important that we understand these 2 aspects of inflammation, because there's a positive reason for having it, but then there's a negative aspect of maintaining inflammation in the body. So sickle cell disease is 3 things. I mean, it's very broad, but I'm just going to paint some very broader strokes, very general strokes for the purpose of today, because I know that we've gone over a lot of information already. And so sickle cell is caused by a mutation in the blood, okay? And it isn't something that you can see on someone, and this can be difficult, especially when people are not sensitive to the variety of ways that illness can present itself. And so the cells, they sickle, and then they become prone to hemolysis, which means that they'll, gather in areas and create jams. I call them traffic jams, and stop the blood flow, which can increase levels of pain and put patients and clients into crises, right? And so they're not moving through the capillaries, they're not moving through the vessels of the body. And so I want to make sure that we're aware of how these illnesses are going to be affecting our blood systems. And so I want to move on and talk about the multi-system disorder, and that is one of the most common genetic diseases. Now, when we talk about multi-system disorder, it's important that we understand, yes, we are our physical body, and we don't see what's happening inside of our body, and we're most of the time not aware of what's happening to our body unless something is wrong with the system or with that particular area, like you bumped your arm and you have a bruise, or for women your menstrual cycle is coming and so you're feeling a bit bloated and tender in the belly, or you ate something and your body is telling you that maybe this isn't something that I should have consumed. And so there are 11 different systems in the body which correlate to each organ system, right? And so when we think about there are 11 different systems that need to have proper blood flow, that need to have proper circulation. And if the blood is not able to flow and circulate, if the energy from the blood is not able to reach the periphery, the ends of the fingers and the toes and the top of the head with full arterial flow, the word is not coming, but arterial flow is the blood that's being pumped by the heart. And then you have the venous flow, which is returning. But if we don't have this, then we're experiencing pain, then we're experiencing atrophies, then we're experiencing infections and inflammations. And so I want us to keep in mind that there are 11 different systems that need to be nourished in the system and in the body. And if the blood is not able to flow, then it becomes a multi-system disorder that is very common in our specific genetic community. Okay. And so there's a higher chronic inflammatory status that is related to more severe symptoms in sickle cell disease patients. And so we can look at low to no movement. We can talk about the stiffness and pain. We can talk about the muscle constrictions and the armoring. These are how it's manifesting. I'm just talking about some of these different points to lay down the surface so that we can get deeper in to understand how they're interfacing and some of the other key pieces that are involved when we talk about holistic healing, because we have to address all of the layers. Okay. And so, as I had mentioned, multi-systems lead to several diseases. Multi-system disorders can lead to several diseases, and they can just exacerbate whatever issue you've had, because if one system has broken down and is reliant on a piece of another system, then everyone is going into a stress mode. Everyone is rushing around to try to function optimally, but you're actually subpar based off of deficiencies that you're experiencing. Right. Another inflammation factor has to do with infections, the physical activity, poor diet, environmental and industrial toxins, as well as psychological stress. So these are all pieces that we want to keep in mind and remember as we're talking about sickle cell disease. And I want to talk a little bit more about the multi-system disorder, because I think that this is important for us to understand. Okay. So I talked about there are 11 systems in the body, and I started to mention that there are points of intersection of each system. And so if your body is stressed, and if your body is experiencing inflammation, right, whereas there is insufficiency, there's a breach in the immune system, your system is not fighting for you, your system is fighting against you, your system doesn't have the nutrients that it needs, then it means that you're taking from Peter, robbing from Peter to pay Paul. That's what my mom used to say. When you're really just trying to, you're in between a rock and a hard place, right? So this is important for us to understand. The second thing I want to talk about are the multi-layers of awareness. Now, inflammation and stress, they manifest physically in the body. We can see them on our actual organism, but it's important to know that everything is manifested from your emotional and your mental and your spiritual life as well. And if you are not able to address these issues, they cause stress, and stress creates inflammation. Stress creates imbalance. Stress is the basis of inflammation, right? And if you are born with a condition that is based in that, right? If your body is stressed, if you're not receiving the nutrients that you need, you are constantly stressed, right? And so this is going to affect how you think. It's going to affect how you feel. It's going to affect, how things that you believe, what you believe to be true or not. It just kind of, helps to solidify the experience that you're having. And I want us to consider the tradition of how we think, how we view ourselves, how we view our bodies, how we view our thinking, how we arrived at these points, right? Because the next point here is that a state of chronic health deteriorates the body and begets more stress. Are we living in chronic health conditions? Why are we living in chronic health conditions? Are we even aware that we're living in chronic health conditions, right? Because like I said, it's just creating a cesspool, right, of acidic habits, and thinking that we're functioning okay, when in actuality, we're just creating more and more illness and not quite sure why the medication isn't working specifically, when it's addressing just the physical nature, but everything else is affecting the physical nature. And so that kind of discounts the medication that you're taking. So this is really important that you pick up what I'm putting down, because when you go back, to your everyday life, when you close your eyes, when you're going through your experience and, you're blaming things, not necessarily blaming things, but you're experiencing things just through the physical, you have to recognize there are so many other pieces that are included, which brings us to the importance of accountability towards oneself. Now, this is not the first time that I've been on a panel and been able to support, different kinds of health movements for various reasons. And the one thing that constantly comes back into play is understanding your level of accountability in your health, in your wellness, in your journey, how you're moving forward, and how you influence the people around you. And this is not taking away from chronic health conditions. It's not taking away from sickle cell at all, but it's getting you to understand that we do have tools to be able to reduce the layers of pain and discomfort that you're feeling. But if you are not accountable to your actions and your non-actions, then you are part of your reason for living in stress and living with high levels of inflammation, right? And so this is about accountability. It's not about blame, but it has to do with mindset and how we view our lives, how we view our experiences, and then how we give other people access to ourselves based off of our own experience of ourselves, y'all. Nothing's ever straightforward with me, for those who are familiar. And so I want to talk about Dr. Joy DeGury. Dr. Joy DeGury is a PhD. She has a master's in clinical sociology, a master's in social work, and a PhD in social work research. She is the author of the book Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing. And the reason why I brought up Dr. Joy DeGury is because her research is at the intersection of racism, trauma, violence, and American chattel slavery. When we look at our lives, right, not the lives of the diaspora and Africa as a whole on the planet in terms of history, but if we look at the most recent history over the last 400 years, this is what influences us. Right? The behavior of our group, the behavior of our collective. There are those who do not subscribe to colonial conditioning because they've had opportunities, they've been able to fight their way out, they're not living, or allowing the constraints of their circumstances to direct their final destination. But there's a large group of us. There are a large group of Afro-Canadians, African-Americans, Afro-Europeans. There's the diaspora in and of itself is still very much dealing with this colonial conditioning. And so it's important that we understand this. And so within her research, part of her observations came from years of watching years of sustained trauma and no real way of handling the stress, right? So we know that trauma and stress create inflammation in the body. We know this for a fact. It's been scientifically documented and proven. And so there's a connection between survival behavior and contemporary living. And what does this mean? So Black bodies were captured, shipped, sold, beaten, raped, experimented on, freed, not given any help, and then left to sustain more trauma. So there's multi-generational trauma that we're dealing with. So our survival patterns and adaptive culture begin, and they are maintained by us. Okay, so like example, there is one story that Dr. Joy talks about in terms of how, Black women will talk about their children. Someone will give their child a compliment, and oftentimes you might be saying something negative as a response, but you're thinking and feeling something good about your children. And so if we were to take this out of 2021 and bring it back 300 years ago, if the master was speaking to you about your child or about your family member, one of the first things that you're going to do is try to dissuade him from wanting to take interest in your child for fear of being sold. Okay, and so I have to bring this up so we can understand that a lot of our habits are cultural patterning that are based off of adaptive appropriation and survival appropriation. Okay, so when we look at our relationship to stress, when we look at our relationship to illness, when we look at our relationship to trauma, and we can look it in the face and know that something is wrong and still not do anything about it. We have to bring it back to understanding the psychosis and the psychology behind what we're dealing with, because sickle cell disease is real. It's painful. It hurts. It's terminal. It creates so much, rifts in the lives of those who are experiencing it. And so if we are going to help our communities and we're going to help those who are at, in need of that kind of advocacy, we ourselves have to make ourselves accountable. We have to become aware, and we have to make ourselves accountable to one another for our actions. So if we're hearing about things that we can do, but we're not making the move towards it, and we just kind of lean back into our habits and our tradition because that's what they are, is this helping us or is this causing more difficulties? So I want to talk to you about, processed food versus natural foods. Now, one of the reasons why I also brought up Joy DeGury and post-traumatic slave disorder is because one of the excuses that we have is, well, I eat what my ancestors ate, or I eat what I have access to and what I'm given. So we do recognize that within our communities, there is a disparity with our ability to access proper foods. And if you're not eating food, you're eating junk. There is no if, ands, or buts about it. If you're eating packaged foods and you're not able to read the ingredients on it, if you are constantly buying, meat that's on sale, it just reached 49 cents a pop, don't buy it. Okay, because these kinds of foods, they are not helping you. Okay, there are many stories, there's many science, documents published that are, giving us the rundown and the lowdown on exactly what's going on. And processed foods, white sugar, white flour, white pasta, white vinegar, these things, white rice, these things are what help to increase the inflammation. If you're not, your body is constantly receiving nourishment. We're constantly feeding our body. Are we feeding our body stressful music? Because the words from the music are going to play in our mind, and they're going to, be recorded, and we're going to remember these words in the back, the recesses, and repeat them to ourselves. And so what words are you listening to? The sounds that you're listening to, do they help to relax you? Please excuse me. Do they help to relax you? What people are you around? The food that you're eating, this goes into your mouth and there's a complete chemical breakdown, and your body will take from the chemical reactions what it needs to be supported and to be nourished and to function optimally. And so if you're deciding to eat a Mae West, which is carbohydrates, it's sugar, it's processed food, and then you drink coffee, which is caffeine, and then you decide that you're gonna, eat rice and chicken, which is carbs and, protein together, there's nothing in your diet that's feeding you. There's nothing in your diet. Your body craves, the sun. Your body craves, the elements. It craves color. That's why we always say that your plate should be full of different colors, because it affects your mood. You mentioned, just before I started my presentation, that when you need to go outside, it's because your body is craving the color. And if you can't get color from the sun, you need to get color from your food. If you look at your food and your food is just gray, beige, and brown, then you're not doing something right. You're not giving your body what it needs. If you fall into crises, one of the first things that you should be doing is giving your body the minerals that it needs to be able to reduce inflammation. Vitamin E, magnesium, you need calcium, you need vitamin D, you need, all of these different things, vitamin C. Always get your chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is one of the closest molecules to hemoglobin, right? So we need that for our iron levels. There's just so much beauty in natural foods. But the issue is, I ate the foods that my parents ate. That quality of food that your parents ate is not the same as it is today. It's not. If you were to go back and look behind the scenes of many of these companies and what they're doing and what they're putting in their foods, but I implore you to really take the time and purchase in the produce section to help to reduce, because all of these plants that taste like grass and taste like dirt, these are comments that I get from people around me when I'm consulting. But all of these things, these are the same foods that the animals eat. The difference is you're not getting the food, the nourishment directly from them, because we've been trained to think that you have to get it from animals. Reducing the amount, changing the quality is important, but making sure that you're eating foods that are not going to create inflammation in the body. This is so crucial. Now, I also wanted to talk with you about creating balance, right? And understanding that level of accountability when it comes to mindset and awareness. And so now that we know this, now that I've laid this out for you, now that you understand that inflammation happens in the body, inflammation happens when there's a breach in the immune system. We know that, when we have sickle cell has to do with an inability of the blood to flow freely through the body. So it creates areas of tension, areas of buildup of traffic jams within the multi-system. And so here we have the perfect grounds for inflammation. And what can we do? We can pay attention to how we respond when someone tells us that we can eat better. Sometimes someone will tell us that we can eat better, and the first thing we do is we roll our eyes because we're comfortable with the food. We like to get the itis. The itis means inflammation. That's what it means. They added the word nigger in front of it. I didn't want to say the word, but I'm going to. But they added the word nigger in front of it to be able to, give it to us, right? You have itis, and so you're going to sleep. You're a bit lazy. You don't want to get up. So why do we give ourselves permission to eat until the body is inflamed, and then we're constipated? And we can't go to the bathroom, and then we're complaining because we're bloated, and then, women are complaining because they have clots, right? And then you're anticipating, you can feel, a crisis building up in your body, but you're still eating the same way and doing the same things that put you in the position. So where is the accountability? Where is the accountability for the avoidance that we sometimes give our own health? And I'm talking about myself as well. As a practitioner, as someone who is seasoned in the work that I do, we all have to take accountability for ourselves, just as you would put the mask in the airplane over your mouth first, the same way you would turn around to give accountability to the next person around you. We need to be aware of our condition and how we arrived at where we are to be able to successfully make these lifestyle changes that I think are important. And so when we're creating balance and we're learning to monitor stress, we want to take the things and do the things that are going to increase our alkalinity. We want to reduce acidity. We want to reduce and eliminate inflammation, making sure that you're hydrated. Drinking water is completely underrated. If you don't think you drink enough water, anytime you go to the bathroom, replenish with a cup of water. It doesn't have to be so difficult. It can get very complex if you want, right? If you're really serious about, inundating your system and reducing inflammation, make sure you're drinking a lot of water. You can also, I mentioned, take supplements. You have CoQ enzyme 10, which is an antioxidant, which is great for the cells. You have magnesium, you have vitamin E, you have glutathione, you have so many different things, vitamin C, that will help to reduce your inflammation. We're talking about the food as well. I want you to consider going into nature. Anytime I talk to our people about going into nature, everybody rolls their, and I don't really do this, but you know what? God's plan is outside in nature. God's healing is outside in nature. The divine creation is there for our healing, and it's there for a reason. Plants, being outside and around them, they have a particular energy that helps you. Being around the waterfalls and you feel so good. When you go into a beautiful environment, you feel wonderful. When you're in an environment that is unhealthy, you don't feel good. If you are on the path to healing and you're working towards reducing and eliminating inflammation, be in nature. Bring the plants to you if such is the case. Open up your windows. Bring in the smells. Find ways to include the 4 elements into your life: earth, air, fire, and water. How can I do that? How can I reduce the stress in my mind? Am I able to do breathing exercises? Am I even aware of my breathing patterns? Do I hold my breath throughout the day without even recognizing that I'm doing this? We need to become more aware of our bodies and how we function within our bodies, because we are multidimensional beings. There's a whole life that you live on your mental level. There's a whole life that you live on your emotional level. And it trickles down into our everyday living, and we express it through our personality. Like I said, my presentations are never just straight medical. They always have to include the holistic aspect, which includes all levels of our being, right? And chronic inflammation is a problem. It's a problem because of, being Black, right? Like, we're just constantly being stressed out. So your mind, your thoughts, your actions, you know what I mean? Where you're living, you may not be able to live in a quiet environment that is conducive to, beautiful walks in the afternoon and, moonlit starry skies, right? Your social economic status. You may not have money, you may not have access to the right kinds of foods, but there are always options, and that's what you've got to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what I wanted to share with you all today. I want to thank you so much for listening to me, and really take into consideration different ways that you can heal from inflammation and support your body before, after, and during it goes into crises. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much, first of all. because that was a full of information. I was writing down notes. I know everybody was writing down notes. All I know is I ran and got my big water. I went and got some, some Fiber One and all that stuff, because when you say it, then you think, you go, ooh, that is kind of right. I ate too much and then I just knocked out, or why am I putting all that in my system? And I don't go for walks and I don't do this, and my body's telling me, well, time out, slow down. Okay. If you don't feel well today and do this, it might not be certain things, but you yourself have to go system check. Okay, what do I need to do? And then, like you said, the processed food. And I'm going to say it. Listen, when you see and you're hungry and you're driving by and they say 2-for-1 burgers,
That's right. Yeah, it's tempting. It's for
I'm
a
like,
reason.
oh, 2-for-1. I'm gonna stop. I gotta listen. I'm gonna rush. I don't got time to make lunch. If I can get 2 for, like, these are things that we need ourselves to say, is it healthy for you?
That's
What are
right.
you doing? So thank you so much for the information. And then one more thing is that you mentioned real quick, because I know we have the next person coming up, is
Sure.
the mental aspect.
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes I didn't even think about that. If my mental's good, my body's going to be good. If my body's good, my mental's going to be. It's a balance.
That's right.
So that's another thing I want everybody to go through with the balance, because a lot of people go to the gym every day and work out, but their mind's not right.
That's not good.
Okay,
And then you're wondering why you're still stuck.
right, exactly. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Bye bye. Yeah, listen, I was just listening to her, and oh yeah, the other thing too is your plate. Okay, do you remember the part where she said about your plate? If it's got all these colors on it, your plate determines, what you're eating, if it's gray or whatever. So that one was big for me as well. All right, so coming up next, we have somebody upcoming here from Camp Jamoke, and we have the president, Judy. She's here? If she could just turn on her camera, Judy, we can bring you on live. She's in the green room, and we have a lot of more guests. So please welcome to the show. Hey, that's for you. How you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm good. So real quick, what did you take away from that?
I would say the inflammation piece, I think, is big about, drinking, lots of water to help with inflammation. Oftentimes people think their weight loss is because of one thing when it's really due to, chronic inflammation. So if you can get that under control, then you might have a better chance. I think that was my big takeaway.
Here's one thing that she said, and I go, oh, okay. She said, when you use the bathroom, go back and put more water back in.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't think of that. Okay, you use the bathroom, and then wait a minute. I just let go of some water, run and go and put some water back in.
But you need it. You need the water, right? So
right. I was never thought of that part, but there you go. All right. So we're talking about the camp. Tell us about the camp. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, I actually just put a little small presentation together just to give a little update on where we're at with Camp Jamoke. I'm sure most people who are in the audience today have heard about Camp Jamoke. So walk me through sharing, here we go. I want to share my screen.
Okay, go ahead.
I share screen, here we go.
And while she's doing that, I'm going to just add some more information to the stream. So don't forget, once again, if you want information, you can go to the website. It's right there, sicklecellontario.ca, or you can go info@sicklecelontario.ca and get more information on the presentation and all that stuff.
Is it showing, Chuck?
No, but what I can do for you is do this.
Let's do it, please. Thank you so much.
There you go.
Let's not waste everybody's time today.
Just let me know when you want me to move on.
Okay, so let's go to the first slide. So my name's Judy. Everybody, or most people, know me these days. I am the president of Camp Jamoke. The first thing I wanted to share was my why. Why do I do this? Why do I continue to volunteer day in and day out for Camp Jamoke? And that's my son, Kamau. He has sickle cell disease. He's 14 years old. And he has hemoglobin SC. And that was actually diagnosed in the early days of newborn screening when he was about 4 months old. So this is why I do this work and why I'm involved, in the sickle cell disease community. You can go on to the next one, Chuck. Thank you. So Camp Jamoke, we are a charity that was established in 1994. Our main mission is to support children living with sickle cell disease by providing access to summer camp and educational support. The camp has sent over 700 children to camp in Camp Winona in Bracebridge at little to no cost to families. The only thing family pays is registration fees, which is minimal in comparison to the cost of camp. Also, we about 10 years into our existence, we introduced an educational support scholarship. So what we do is we give out a scholarship to young campers in the amount of $2,000. And that purpose of that amount is to support them, help them with books and other expenses related to post-secondary education. To date, we've given out 19 scholarships to campers throughout the GTA. Over the last 2 years, next slide, Chuck, thank you. Can't really see. So over the last 2 years, as everyone knows, we've been going through the global pandemic. So in-person camp sessions, unfortunately, had to be canceled. And after, 25 years of doing camp, that was, a major change for, anyone involved in Camp Jamoke and other camps throughout the country and the world. So an attempt to keep the camp tradition, what we did was we offered virtual camp activities. These were held last year and this year, and they were opened up to children across the country, which was, I guess, a benefit of the camp experience, or the benefit of the fact that we went virtual is that we were able to have campers from Nova Scotia, British Columbia, and a few other places. Sorry, that escaped me at the moment. Our activities included movement classes, which was exercise classes. We had cooking, we had sewing, entrepreneurship programs, tie-dye sessions, and other sessions throughout this summer and for 2 weeks last summer. The purpose of that really is to try to just keep connected so that people don't feel, totally abandoned during the time that we're not able to get together in person. So just looking ahead now, Chuck, if you want to go. Thank you. Our focuses are a few things really for the next few months to continue to support and engage families in order to rebuild, the community. And by that, we want to, reach out, arrange for outings. A couple of weeks ago, we went go-karting. That was pretty fun. I believe your son was there as well, Chuck. We had a good time. We also want to provide virtual activities. So we'll still continue to provide virtual, programming from now until next August. Again, keeping connections together and hopefully building, communities that the young people can interact in, and maybe, fostering support for parents as well. And then in 2022, the hope and the plan right now, tentatively, is to return to in-person camp. We do have scheduled 20 camp spaces for next year, 10 boys, 10 girls in August. So that's tentative, of course, with approval from, our medical support, and also with discussion with Jeff from Camp Winona. He'll come in actually later on this year to let us know how his session went this year, because they were open for a limited number of campers up at Camp Winona. So he does have some learnings from that he'll be sharing with us to help us form our judgment as to whether or not camp can go on for next August. So yeah, you can move on. Thank you. So we're always looking for help at Camp Jamoke. The work is 100% volunteer. All the funds that we raise to go towards camp are raised through volunteer work. So if anyone is interested and able and willing, we'd love to hear from you at Camp Jamoke. These are the ways you can contact us. Oh, thank you, Chuck. Thank you. And just one last slide. I guess you missed the last one. Chuck, are you there?
Yep, we're here. We're just getting the next one over, trying to get to your website.
There was only one slide left. Actually, it was a testimonial from a camper. So I actually want to share that one if you're able. If not,
Yep,
then
right
maybe
there.
I can. Yep. That's Rukaya. Rukaya is a past camper, also a scholarship recipient. Her brother Maruf also was a camper and scholarship recipient. I'm not sure if you can read the caption underneath, and she's there with Jeff Bradshaw, who is the director and owner of Camp Winona, our host camp. So her caption says, "I learned more about myself in those 2 weeks of camp than I had in a year of school. Camp Jamoke." I'm sorry, I can't read it. It's so small, Chuck. You gotta blow it up a little.
It says Camp Jamoke's presentation in sickle cell disease into empowering my journey.
Thank you, thank you. If the screen was the right size, I'd be able to read it. But anyway, again, just sharing just a few things about camp right now. We're still here, we're still active, and we're looking forward to welcoming people back next year for the in-person camp session. So I just want to also remind people to stay tuned. We have fundraisers coming up because in order to send the kids to camp, we have to raise these funds, right? So if people can keep their eye on our social media for that, the support would be greatly appreciated.
All right. Now, I want to say one thing before we let you go, because we have the next speaker coming up.
Yes.
I too have to say that camp has changed my son.
Mhm.
So my son is also a camper, and he became great friends with your son, but he went as Darian, and then he came back as a man. Okay.
Came back as Darian.
Yeah, like he came
Right?
different. He's doing stuff, and I'm like, his knees are all scratched up, and he's having fun. And my wife is like freaking out. He's all bruised and battered. He's like, oh, it's okay. We did this and we do that. Like he was more free.
Yeah.
He had confidence, and he went out, and he's there, he's safe and everything, and his confidence just built up. And I think that's what she's saying in her comments, that the 2 weeks gave her more things to feel free. He tried new foods. I'm like, what'd you eat? Oh, we ate this, we ate that. I go, but you don't eat that at home.
Something you would never get him to eat at home. I mean, your wife and I went up a few years ago. I'm sure you heard us talk about this just to visit, and they were out on the lake, kayaking, and it freaked me out because I would never allow that if I was there, right? But we got to see them do this without them even knowing we were watching, and it was absolutely amazing. So camp is, a life-changing experience. So we hope to continue in the future.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Chuck. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we're going to keep the show moving and keep going from Boo. I see that he's here. Can you give me a thumbs up, sir? You're ready to go. Here he is. Let's give him a big round of applause. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
No problem. I see you smiling in the background when we were talking about the kids, and so tell us what that is.
No, one, I was thinking, I wish I could have gone to that camp and come back as a changed man. Like sometimes you need that change. So maybe I will try it. And Judy, what might allow me to go there, but it's very encouraging to hear how some instances and events really bring about change in people's lives, and that's really what our work should be, is about changing the lives of the people who really are being faced with different barriers and challenges.
All right. So please tell us about your organization. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Unlike the previous session, I don't have a presentation, but Taibu, maybe many people would know about Taibu, but we also get very surprised when we hear people didn't know about Taibu for such a long time. We've been operating for about 13 and a half years now. Sickle Cell Association has been one of the founding members, and obviously Miss Lily has been instrumental in getting some work done so that Taibu can be a reality. And we are a CHC, a community health center, so we provide primary health care, which includes clinical services with doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, and other allied health professionals. But we also do a lot of community work in the community, whether it's health prevention, health promotion, and community development. Our mandate is focused on the Black population as our priority population and serving the whole of the GTA. But we are also focused on serving the neighborhood of the Malvern community here, predominantly racialized communities. We also have two other focuses, one being the Francophone communities in Scarborough, and we're also working with the Scarborough Indigenous Wellness Advisory Council to support their initiatives in serving the Indigenous communities in Scarborough. Um, the relationship, I've been asked to talk about collaborations, partnership, relationship in this work and why it is important. As you know, as I said earlier, we have been established to serve communities who are facing systemic barriers to access or culturally appropriate services, and addressing anti-Black racism, both in the healthcare as well as in the social services sector. So in this kind of work, it is impossible that one single organization, whether an organization culturally identified organizations such as Taibu or mainstream organizations, can really provide the services that the community needs by themselves. It always requires some kind of relationship, engagement, partnership, collaboration with others. This is the kind of type of work that it involves. And as I said, particularly when we talk about anti-Black racism, the nature of the issue and barrier and inequity being very systemic, it requires the engagement with different stakeholders and groups and organizations. And also, you know, this kind of work is not easy, so having the support of other groups is important. You know, this is also true to our identity and our roots. You know, there is an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together, right? So if we really want to do something very quick, it's easy, we can do it by ourselves. But if we really want to do something meaningful with long, you know, term outcomes and standing, then we have to walk or travel together, and that's what the spirit of partnership and collaboration is. And if you know, if we look at the history of Taibu and the history of the relationship between Taibu and Sickle Cell Association of Ontario, that is really a very good example. As I said earlier on, Taibu was the result of the engagement of the Black Health Alliance that brought so many people, individuals, and organizations together to start thinking and conceptualizing a service that is targeted at the Black population, and that's how Taibu was born. And Sickle Cell Association, as I mentioned earlier, and giving credit to our elders, you know, including Miss Lily, that has been very significant. And then we continued this relationship from birth for us, but long-standing relationship for SCAO, in establishing a model, a pilot for specialized sickle cell program here at Taibu. And that was one of the, I think, best collaborations that we've had with significant outcomes. It was a pilot, and we hope that we continue to establish this with adequate resources. But you know, we were able to have a specialized clinic here at Taibu. We had a comprehensive program with dietitians. We heard about, you know, healthy eating before, and making sure that, you know, nutrition is part of addressing the challenges that people with living with sickle cell disease can address, and practical support as well. And that pilot, which was a great relationship with SCAO, helped us to, number one, increase the quality of life for members of the sickle cell community, reduce the incidence of crisis, reduce the ED visits by about 65% when we were evaluating the services that we had, establishing of ED protocols so that when people are attending hospital services, they're able to access services quickly and swiftly so that their experience is much better. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done, and COVID has also created now a new environment as to how we can continue to work in partnership with other organizations to make this happen. Partnership and collaboration obviously brings about benefits for resources, capacity, advocacy, things that we have done, and also community benefit. The relationship we have with SEO continues to grow. We still are supporting the monthly support group. We're providing administrative capacity for SEO to be active in the community and supporting that. And we also want to continue to strengthen because working in this area and addressing systemic and barriers is it's a long journey, and we look forward really to continue to work and build upon the work that SEO has done, and for us to learn also. We have a lot to learn around the sickle cell community as well. So, I'm very honored and privileged to be here to share that and give testimony that the work that we have done in the past was great, but I think there is much greater work that we want to do and will continue to do. And this is a commitment from the board, the staff, and the volunteers here at Taibu Community Health Center. So thank you for the opportunity to be here and to be part of this educational session.
There you go. And if we can do this real quick, that's you guys right there. Take yourself off of mute.
Yes.
There you go. I just want to make sure everybody knows the organization right there real quick. Pull it up. So if you need more information, there's the guides. That's their website. A lot of stuff that they're doing. And I think I know that gentleman right there in the front. I think I know him right there.
Yeah. He's my younger brother.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you for letting us know more about it. And where are you guys located?
We're located in Scarborough, in the Malvern Town Hall, the Malvern Town Center, the Malvern Mall, inside the parking lot. But we provide our services in different locations through partnership with other organizations throughout the city. So in the West, we work with different groups as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. So see, there is a lot of information out there. And if you didn't know who they were, now you know. Okay. So you can give them a call. There's the website. Found out more information. Collaboration. He said it. Collaboration again. Okay. Moving right along to keep the show going. She's been in the background. I could see thumbs up, smiles are happening already. Let's go. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. So you being in the background, I know you've been listening and taking notes and smiling. Yes. So please tell everybody who you are. You're the president. You're the big boss.
Yeah, my name is Biba Tenga. I'm not the big boss. I'm just a warrior mom, and I'm here to represent the Sickle Cell Disease Association of Canada. I am the president and executive director. And I'm so happy to be here. And I've been listening to all the conversation happening, and this is a wonderful event. And I'm here to talk about advocacy.
Okay.
Why do we advocate? And how can we advocate, to reach our goals, and which is to improve, the outcome for individuals living with sickle cell disease. So I do have slides. I don't know if I can share them, or do you have them?
Nope, you can go ahead and share the screen. And while you're looking for that, I'm going to give the information out one more time to everybody. And for everybody that's here, you'll see the replay again. And if there's organization, or is there somebody that you were seeing on that you want more information, we will get that to you. We can put it on their website for more information, so we can get that out to you as well.
I'm not sure. Okay, let me see. Is it working? Can you see anything?
No, but if you continue, I will see if I can find it for you and just explain a little bit, and then I'll see if I can pull it up for you.
Oh, perfect. So then I can cancel this one?
No, if it's there, hold on. Let me see if it's there. No, it's not there yet. So, yep. I'll see if I can find it for you.
Okay.
Oh,
No. Okay.
yep, there it is.
I did send it ahead of time. I don't know if you have it.
You're on screen right now. That's your screen.
Okay, that's my screen, but I don't see my presentation. And it was
okay.
Hmm.
Okay, what's your presentation? And I will pull it up.
Okay, so.
All right, so we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll see if I can get your presentation.
For over 20 years, the health and wellness team at Morgan Chiropractic and Wellness, MCW, has been helping people live healthier, happier lives. Many have been individuals and families from the sickle cell community. Providing chiropractic and massage therapy will help alleviate joint and muscle pains. Naturopathic medicine and psychotherapy will support your nutritional and emotional needs. MCW is proud to support the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario and the Lily Johnson Scholarship Fund. Call us today to book your consultation. 416-447-7600.
CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top, and if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com. Yes, we are back live. I'm trying to find your presentation, so if you want to go ahead, if I can pull something up for you.
Perfect. So, as I said, today I'm here to talk about advocacy. Why do we advocate? Is to improve the outcome for individuals living with sickle cell disease in Canada. So ACDAC is the national umbrella for sickle cell disease, meaning that we are here to work and collaborate and bring all the groups together to work as one strong, unified voice. And how do we do that? By amplifying the voices of the sickle cell disease voices all across Canada and through engagement. Engagement is the key. Who do we engage? We have to engage our policymakers, provincial and federal. And we have to engage the healthcare providers. We have to engage, of course, we have to engage the industry, the public health, researchers, and most importantly, we have to engage those who are affected by sickle cell disease, the patient and their families. And that's why we have the patient group, and I think the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario has been doing a great job doing that for so many years. You were the first to bring newborn screening in Canada, and then it went throughout the other provinces. And one of the biggest projects that we've been working on at the national, and I want to talk about it today because it's going to be the one project that is going to serve everybody. We need a national registry for sickle cell disease. What is the registry? It's okay if I don't have my slide, maybe I can explain it because this is what I wanted to show. We need evidence-based data, very simple. Either you're talking to your policymaker, provincial or federal, either you're talking to the physician, the researchers. If you go to a school even to talk about sickle cell, even if you want to take your child in a school, you need to know if in that school, that child is going to get the best care possible. If the teacher knows about sickle cell, if there are other kids with sickle cell disease, if you want to buy a home or you want to rent a house, you want to know if the hospital close to you can give you the best care possible. If you want to meet your MPP and talk to him about sickle cell, they're going to ask you how many people are living with the condition because they need the numbers, they need the data, they need to know where they can put a hospital close to you because people are traveling long distance, in Ontario to go and get care. But how do we get all this data together? Is by getting a registry, a national registry for sickle cell disease. We've been advocating for that for years. We've been to Ottawa since 2015 telling them that we need a registry. And they said, oh, wait, we don't even know what sickle cell. And you are talking about the national registry. Tell us more about sickle cell disease. And that's why we went back to advocate and then to have June 19 recognized as our Sickle Cell Awareness Day. It's done. We've got that. It's been since 2017, but nothing else happened after that. And we want more. We cannot just be left with just a celebration of a day and saying that we are raising awareness when our people are dying at a very young age. We need more than that. And I was very, very pleased when I saw the Bill 233, the Improve Access to Healthcare Act. I'm like, this is the type of initiative that we need in Canada. And I support that 100%. And thank you so much. My presentation is here. And I know that if this bill passes, you are again starting something different in Canada, and it's going to go in all other provinces. So I'm going to go quickly through the presentation to tell you exactly what it is. Can we have the next one, please? The next slide. Perfect. So look at this slide. You have USA versus Canada. We wanted to show you because look at the dates here. In 1995, the first drug that we use, and the only one that we have so far in Canada, which is hydroxyurea, was approved in the USA. So they started using it in 1995. And then it only came to Canada in 1988 when it was approved here in Canada to be used for sickle cell patients. And to this day, it's the only drug that is available. 8 years, there were 8 years gap between the time that they approved the drug in the USA and then it came to. So look at that, it's such a long time, 8 years in the life of somebody fighting and struggling, with the pain and sickle cell. So our government has to approve it. Even though healthcare is provincial, you know that Health Canada has to approve the drug for it to be even available in the country so that you can get it, So now let's move to the next one. So we went all this year from 1988 with only hydroxyurea. Then there was no research about sickle cell. We've been advocating for it. Then in 2019, something happened. Something new happened. First of all, in 2017, there was a new drug approved in the US. In July 2017, it's Andari, L-glutamine, approved in the USA, not available in Canada. Then 2019 is the sickle cell year. We had 2 drugs approved in the USA by the US FDA, one from Novartis and one from Pfizer, which means now there are 4 drugs available. You have hydroxyurea, L-glutamine, you have Adakveo, and then you have Oxbryta from GPT. None of these drugs are available in Canada. So if they've been approved in November, at the end of November 2019, we are in 2021. We're still waiting. And that tells you how important is it for every single advocate, patient group to come together and have one strong unified voice. And I've been saying it for such a long time. And as ACJC, we've been trying to bring everybody under the national umbrella and work together. And I'm going to give you an example. Look back to June 19, what happened. On June 19, every single patient group has an activity. It's going to be about education, about awareness, but they're going to do something. They're going to walk. They're going to, they will launch maybe a webinar, or they're going to do something about patient support. But that is what is hurting us, because it is not the same message. From one province to another, everybody is having very good ideas. But then what happened is that our language, is not the same. And then people don't know who to listen to, what to do, which way to look at. And then it gets dismissed. And they forget about us. So if we all came on June 19, all across Canada, and we stand and we say, we need a national registry for sickle cell disease. And why? Next slide, please. Look at how a registry can help us. First of all, we are visible, officially visible. We are estimating that there are about 6,000 people living with sickle cell disease, and the majority lives in Ontario and Quebec, and then the rest are, in other provinces. But the registry is going to help us tell you exactly where are these people, how many people have sickle cell disease, how SS, SC, and even the sickle cell trait. We're going to look at that. And then when you're going to sit in front of your MPP, you're going to say, in my province, I have 2,506 people living with sickle cell disease, and the majority of them live, let's say, not downtown Toronto for sure. Find a place, maybe in Markham. So you cannot put our hospital downtown to Toronto and make us travel to go for monthly blood exchange, or when we are in crisis in the middle of the night for a stressed parent to drive during winter to go to the hospital. We need the care to come to us. That's what the registry will help you do. When you advocate, provincial, federal, then you have the information. And then let's talk about disability. A lot of adults are being denied the disability benefit. Why? Because every province has a different form. It's different. According to one province to another, you can be, approved or denied. So if we come together and we put it there, we know what are the criteria and we know how the physician can fill it. We have the same, we align as one. There is no way people are going to be denied, Then we have also social support, just to know which program to put where. If the majority of the people living with sickle cell disease are under the age of 18, which is the case, for example, in Saskatchewan, I think they have about 30 young people under 18. We know that we need a good pediatrician there. We need a support program maybe to help them for their classes, and we know exactly what we can put if we can locate people geographically and to know their age and gender. And then for the treatment, what's the best treatment working? Because people are going to tell us, oh, I've been on hydroxyurea, it's working for me. Or I've been there, it didn't work for me, I'm on blood exchange. And then we can show them that the one size fits all is not working for sickle cell disease, because you cannot take 6,000 people with the sickle cell manifesting in so many different ways and tell us that you can only give us blood or hydroxyurea. And we are still clapping every June 19 and celebrating. It doesn't work like that. Most importantly, the core of all this is that the quality of the care that you're going to receive. So that bill 233 is gonna be the start. If we have a registry, you're gonna get the data about the quality of life of people living in Ontario, how they are treated when they go to the ER, and you're gonna be able, just not sharing one experience, but all the experiences combined and bring evidence-based data that nobody can deny and tell us this is what our life looks like in this province as Canadian, and we need a better care. We need a better access to care. Next slide, please. So the reason why we need a national registry for sickle cell disease, the slide is next. If you press, maybe it will come. So we need to put evidence-based, numbers that shows and track our quality of life, as I've said. Then next, this will impact our ability to get policy changes, specialized treatment centers like life-saving drug, disability benefit, funds, and the right quality of care, because people are going to be able to show how many times they've been to the ER, how long they've been waiting, and how long they stayed in the hospital, job losses, all that. We can collect this data in the registry. Next, please. And then the people with sickle cell disease and who have the trait, need to be officially counted and be visible. Because let me tell you something. Do you know why the government of Canada does census every 5 years? Because every decision that the government takes for the next 5 years are going to come for the information that they get in that census. It's the same. The registry is going to be our own census. Here we are, here is what we have, and here is our life, as it is now. How can we make it better? How can you help us make it better? Next. So, and we attract new research and medical professionals, because we need more doctors. We need a doctor everywhere. One of the examples that I always share is my son, who, when he was going to college, we live in Quebec, and he decided to go to Sudbury. There was no physician in Sudbury who could treat him, and he was on hydroxyurea. And at that time, it was such a headache for us to take the blood test everywhere, every month in Sudbury, send it to the physician in Quebec, who will call the other physician, and he had to come every 3 months to see his doctor. If they were more professional, specialized in sickle cell, people can have a better life. Now, you are in prison cages, like you're staying here, staying close to your physician, to your hospital, because even if you get a job opportunity or you have a loved one, somebody that you want to go and live with anywhere, like in Coaticook, in Sudbury, or anywhere, you can go because you have sickle cell. And that's not fair. People should be able to travel anywhere they want and feel safe within this country. So the next slide, please. So, that's what I was saying. The same quality of care, regardless of where you live in Canada. You don't have to be in Toronto or Montreal to get the best care. You can go all the way in the small city after Vancouver. You should be able to get the care you need to stay healthy and have the best quality of life. Life expectancy is about 89 years old in Canada at this time. In Ontario alone, we've lost so many young people under the age of 50. That it's an inequity that our community is going through. We need to change it. Next slide, please. So sickle cell disease, sickle cell trait. Don't forget, if you have a child with sickle cell disease, you have the trait, both parents. If you are the sibling of somebody with sickle cell disease, you might have the trait. And if you are a parent and you have sickle cell disease, your child has the trait. We need to know why, because that's the only way we can educate our own community and make sure that when it comes time to have kids, the next generation can take the decision, with the right information. We need to know. Information is power. You need to have it. So get tested. Ask for your physician. If you are not sure, ask the question. And next, please. Next slide. Okay. So here is the map. Here is the Canadian map. And I'm showing it to you, as I said, ACDC is very young compared to ACAO. ACDC was only funded in 2012 when we saw the need for a national umbrella. You can advocate. You have to advocate provincially. What you're doing here is great, right? But some of the decisions have to be, dealt with at the federal level. So that's why we have a national umbrella. And that's why we need everybody to be at the table for us to work as one strong unified voice. Because if we don't do that, we're going to continue to have our activities, in our region, and then we might make great changes, great advancement. But, research, to get more money put into research, we need the federal government to be involved. To also change something very important is that at this time, as I said, we have hydroxyurea and the blood. Well then, the blood donor diversity. Do you know that if you've ever had malaria, you cannot donate blood in Canada? That's, something that is affecting our community. And also the malaria deferral. If you travel in a region where there is malaria, you come back, then you're gonna have to wait. You can donate blood. We need to change that. A couple of days ago, I was on a meeting with Canadian Blood Services, and they are preparing to put this submission at Health Canada to select more people from more men having sex with men to include them, in the donor base. And while we look at that and we said, well, it's about fairness, right? It's about giving everybody the opportunity to take part in this. But we also think that they should also look at the malaria deferral, because the people living in some region like West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, every single person living there has had malaria. And the people living with sickle cell disease are receiving blood for them, and they're still alive. So what's the issue? So we need science. We need them to come and show us science. How can we change that? We have to advocate at the federal level. We have to go and, get them to do some research and prove us. And if there is no evidence-based, like science-based data, then they have to start taking our blood to help people with sickle cell disease. Because if you receive phenotype of blood, you have more chances, for your body to accept the blood rather than any other donor for a different ethnicity. We did a great video with you, Liz, from your group. That is everywhere. So please make sure you go and watch it on the website. So to finish this, I will just want to put a call to the community, especially in Ontario, because you have the largest number of patients. Look where we are now. Everywhere that is red, we have either member group or collaborators, but we have to be really working more closely together. Either it's Sickle Cell Awareness Month or Sickle Cell Awareness Day, or every day we need to have meetings where we have the same language. If we are not united, we will not move this cause forward quickly. And we are the ones who are affected. So we are the ones suffering. We are the ones losing our kids, our brothers, our sisters at a young age. And I also want to put a call to the second generation of Black people, of Black youth. You can save a life. If you don't have time because you're going to school and building a future, it's okay, do that. If you don't have money to support your provincial organization, it's okay. but just by donating blood, you can save the life of somebody with sickle cell disease. So in Ontario, if you're watching today, anyone, just register on blood.ca. ACAO has a PFL number, ACDC has a PFL number, and donate blood. But most importantly, connect with your organization, give time, help, support, and reach out to the warrior close to you. You know, sometimes just driving somebody to the treatment or dropping maybe a warm meal, it's very helpful. I thank you very much for putting together such an event. And I'm very, very, very happy to see what ACAO has been doing. And this is Miss Lily's legacy, and it's very important for us all. So let's continue to keep it alive. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Now, there's two things that you mentioned that I have to put a real hard pin in. We've just had an election, okay? We voted, our trustees and our local areas and our MPPs, and they're coming up. We have a voice. So, like you said, we need to tell them, hey, this is what I need in my area. This is what's coming up. If your child goes to school, are they doing something for Sickle Cell Day, Sickle Cell Month? Do they mention it in the school? Are they doing certain things?
Yeah.
You have to go to your principal and say, hey, don't forget on this day, this is what's happening, so they can do something. Maybe all the kids wear a red t-shirt or something. But like you said, the more people know and we have a voice, then it some people are like, oh, why is all the whole school wearing red?
Yeah.
This is why.
I know.
This is everything.
And you know what I always like to tell people is that democracy is about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So look at every single sickle cell patient standing, and they have to look around them. Our families are large. Our network is large. If you call on the village and tell them that this government here is not doing what I need to stay alive, so this is what we need to do, we're going to change things. But people have to go and vote, and people have to know who are the policymakers who are really working for them.
Yes.
They need to know that. So it comes connect with your local group and ask the right questions.
Listen, the number's there. You voted them in. Pick up the phone and say, hey, look.
We did? Well.
This is what we talked about. This is what the change you got to see. This is what I want to see in the schools. And the one thing that I think you've mentioned, another mentioned, and we do it as parents before the school starts. We have a binder that we go into the school. We meet with the parents. The parents meet with the teacher, meet with us, the parents.
Yeah.
And we say, here's a binder.
Yeah.
Learn about sickle cell. This is what my son needs. This is why he might be tired. This is why he needs a break. This is what it is. Not that he's tired or sleeping in class. These are the things that might happen. So we, like you said, had to be advocating in schools. Talk to your principals, talk to your teachers, and go from there. So
and we have to take it to another level. Every parent, shouldn't have to even do that work. What we need to do is that, the school board need to allow, for example, ACAO to come and meet with the teachers at the beginning of the school year and educate all teachers. It doesn't matter, because if that teacher is sick or another teacher is going to replace her, that teacher needs to know that if a child has sickle cell, they need to hydrate, as Odessa just said, and they might have maybe frequent trip to the bathroom.
Yes.
And it has to be allowed. So as simple as that. Now our kids are growing up. There is another thing that is really worrisome, is that these young people can get in trouble. The police needs to know that if you have a child with sickle cell, stress is a trigger for them.
Yes.
You need to know how to handle them. And our kids are not safe. There are young Black people out there. And plus, if there is sickle cell, we have to be careful. So please advocate more, but advocate with the right people, with the right tools. So connect with your organization and let's be united.
Yes. Well, listen, I have to give you another big. Because I can hear the passion, and it just shows out to everybody. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. We're going to take another quick break from our sponsor, and then we're going to be right back.
For over 20 years, the health and wellness team at Morgan Chiropractic and Wellness, MCW, has been helping people live healthier, happier lives. Many have been individuals and families from the sickle cell community. Providing chiropractic and massage therapy will help alleviate joint and muscle pains. Naturopathic medicine and psychotherapy will support your nutritional and emotional needs. MCW is proud to support the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario and the Lily Johnson Scholarship Fund. Call us today to book your consultation. 416-447-7600.
Yes, and we're back live. And I just want to thank everybody for the comments coming in, the likes, the shares, and the sharing it. I appreciate it. So let's bring back Serena from the start to the finish. Let's bring back Serena. Hey, Serena.
Hello.
And I see here the rest of the staff and the team is in behind the scenes. So let's bring them on as well. We got Marie and we got Alvin.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much. Like the information that we've been getting is so powerful. You know, advocacy, the health, the food that you put in your body. You know, the doctor is telling us about the change. And then just listening to your story and Yvonne's story about, you know, what you go through to the doctor, you know, is amazing. Now we have Alvin that's here as well. And Alvin, real quick, can you give us a quick story about your, you know, when you go in, what you go through?
Excusez-moi. Ne pas pleurer. What's going on? Afternoon, everybody. This is a shock because I did not know that I would have to do this, but it's just been a journey, Chucky. Like I honestly, I can't even come up with one because there have been so many, and hence why I do the work that I do to make sure that others don't have to go through the things that I've had to go through. So I'll keep it there.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us. And we're doing this again tomorrow, again at 1 p.m. So make sure you join, share, get in some information. And I'll leave the last words for you, Serena.
Oh, the last words for me? Okay. Well, I wanted to say, you know, thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the presenters, the speakers, and the entertainment. We appreciate every single one of you. And we absolutely appreciate the abundance of information that we received today. And hopefully somebody does get to learn something and, you know, feel to be an advocate as well, to the point where, you know, maybe they step into the medical field and want to be a social worker or want to be a doctor or a nurse and so forth. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Charles. And we will definitely see you guys again tomorrow.
All right. And before, I know I said I was giving you the last word, but I'm going to go. Quick question for you. I know you were taking lots of notes. What did you take from this, Marie?
Unreal thing. Apart from really, you know what? Hydration is just key. And, you know, Odessa couldn't talk about it enough, really. Yeah, but there's just so much information that I got from this today. It was really a really good presentation by all our presenters here today. And the performances by Davisha and Correction were, you know, outstanding. And also Venus, our little star at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Make sure you tell a friend, catch the replay, and thank you so much for watching. See you later, everyone.
Bye.